hello. Sweet. We are live on chat as well, or Twitch as well. Actually, you know what, I should probably at least get the link, the stink, up there. I need to just like have that perma pinned. What's up, guys? We did it. Doink, doinky, spoinky. Can I interest you in car insurance? I'll take one car insurance. Is the Twitch live streaming new? Yeah, just trying to get a little following over there, see what happens, you know what I mean? See where we can take things. To the moon and beyond. How else shall we grow, do you guys think? What else should we do to expand the empire of the anthill? How much do I make a month streaming? Well, streaming is not really where I make my money. I make my money on YouTube, like videos and podcasts, videos, or running ads on YouTube videos and podcasts. But I don't even know if YouTube, you're allowed to disclose how much you make or something. Which, yeah, and then of course my OnlyFans page, that's just a trick to get people to look at pictures of my cat chilling, sleeping. Lynn, thank you for the 150. Narration for horror. I should give that a try, see what happens. He's just a black cat, but he's got 7 lucky white hairs on his chesticle. It's rude to ask how much money someone makes. It is a bit rude, I guess, but I understand the curiosity because YouTubers tend to be associated with making a lot. So, you know, obviously you want to know how much someone makes, because you might want to like try and do it yourself, which honestly, if you guys can do YouTube, I would highly suggest giving it a whirl, just because it can kind of change your life in a lot of positive ways, you know, especially within the realm of making money. Is there any way we can send pictures of our pets to you? You can tag me on Instagram at letsread.official. It's always a nice way to, that's how people do their merch when they get like buy merch. Tag pictures of them rocking the new merch. Hate how I can't stay the whole time. These are my fave stories. Oh yeah, should be a good video. And no mention of self-harm in the video, I don't think. We've avoided any stories that got that mentioned in there, so we should be good on the YouTube monetization side. You're doing maps on PoE2. I'm glad to catch your stream, so I have someone to listen to while I drool on myself playing. Oh, are you just like just kind of like repetitiously playing through it, kind of like Diablo, or do you create maps for the game as like mods, or do you actually work for the PoE2 team? Because that would be insane. Did you happen to see my game link? I want to see. Oh no, I did not. No. But like I said, if you wanted to like play it, maybe do a YouTube video and just like do a YouTube video of you playing through it, I wouldn't mind checking that out. When did you realize you had a very good storytelling voice? Like any specific moment to someone telling you that your voice was good? No, it was literally just like I thought this would be easy. I thought this would be an easy thing to do on YouTube. And it turned out that people liked my voice. Not a single person in my previous existence even mentioned it. Other than like one time whenever I was like, I remember one time I was at like a Bible study at like a young teen. And I like prayed and someone was like, all right, I need Joel to read my eulogy when I die. And it didn't compute to me until like later on that meant something about the way I presented that was good. Azzy, thank you for the 5 Canadian, appreciate you. You rock. YouTube note asking how much someone makes in offline can be embarrassing for, oh no, for sure, yeah, that would be a little awkward. Because I remember one time I asked my grandpa that. And he, you know, he was a man of the fields, so he, you know, asking that was not the right question because, you know, they don't make a lot. What kind of videos do you suggest for someone doing YouTube? Like what kind of videos should you make? Hey Iris, what's up? Long time no see. I love how widespread the crime is in these stories, especially when authorities find a lot of people connected to the crime. It is pretty insane. It's your birthday. Happy birthday, Iris. What are you getting up to? Yeah, my grandpa definitely had at least from what I heard, a pretty short temper on a lot of things, but since I didn't get to see him very often, I think he always kind of presented himself as much more easygoing around me. Oh my god. That part in the song sounded like a wet fart. That's funny. Yeah, Jimmy Carter died 100 years old. When the fuck was his birthday? Jimmy Carter birthday. October 1st, 1924. Wow, okay. I was like thinking like he died directly on his 100th birthday, so I was like, okay, so he officially made a pact with the devil to make it to 100, and then he was just off to his peanut farm. I'm eating a burrito. I'm gonna go watch Nosferatu afterwards. Nice, dude. Yeah, has anybody seen it? Also, I was eating a burrito earlier. I ate 1.5 burritos. The second one was a bit much. You should consider doing darker video lighting so people can sleep to them better. You know, I guess I could do that. So in the current form, yeah, it was from Chipotle. So in the current form, would you say, do you mean like during the streams or do you mean during videos? I could just like turn it down a little bit. Retro Duo, thank you for the 5. Says we need more horror game streams, specifically Fears of Fathom. It's based on a true story. Yeah, is that more of like a narrative-driven story? Because I do enjoy, like last night's stream was a ton of fun. Because I'm just like not very good at like using my brain really hard, but also like talking to people and stuff. So like the more I get used to it by just doing like narrative-driven stories and I can communicate with you guys. I do like puzzles too. Puzzles are funny. Because that's a little bit more engaging, and then you guys can like help me solve the puzzles as we go. Hey, Big Rick, what's up, dude? Thank you, Mr. Campbell, with the 10 buckaroonies. Appreciate you. Help you warm up your feet. Your last name's Grapes, so you're gonna have to go stomp around in a big barrel of grapes to warm them up. So the stream's starting. Is you recording scary dark web video? Yes, sir. We'll switch to a much more relaxed tone, more spooky, and then we'll get to recording. There will be a lot of like mistakes. We'll still chat, you know what I mean? But right now, yeah, it's just designated yapping time while everybody files into the amphitheater. Have you heard of the story of the guy who went to prison, met a buddy, had work after they got out, and was at the same job? Then they was presented to a death game without them knowing halfway in. That sounds kind of similar to the game we played yesterday, because they were like friends. And then they ended up dying together. Actually, no. He killed him, but then like saved him. Yeah, sorry. Not to spoil it, but... Honestly, I wasn't super into the mouth-washing game initially. I thought it was kind of slow and boring. But then once like all the story elements started coming together, I was like, this is pretty baller. A Nosferatu remake did come out, didn't anyone? Yeah, did he? I heard good things about it. Some gothic horror. Play Resident Evil 7. That's The Village, right? Yeah, I watched some people play through that. Does he play horror games or make horror game streams? So yeah, you know, normally I record stories, but whenever I do stream games, I'll stream horror games, or really whatever, I guess. I'm still leaving it kind of open-ended, but it's a little bit easier to do like the horror games that have like stories, or like puzzle games, just because too much in-depth stuff, and I feel like I suck at interacting with chat. Sully, thank you for the 10. Says thumbs up to yapping. I appreciate that. Yap till I die. You saw it, Joel. 100% recommend Nosferatu. Okay, sick. Yeah, I don't know. It was one of those like pleasantly surprised movies. Talked about this here before, but I make a lot of music. I'm trying to bump up my monthly listeners. I'm currently sitting at 100. Any advice to grow it? Oh man, yeah, I guess just like getting your music out there somehow, whether it's like virality on TikTok or connecting with somebody in the business to promote your stuff. I mean, I'd always be more than happy to listen to any new stuff that you might have. Obviously on the stream, you can get a few, like probably a maximum of 10 new followers from here. Minimum 10. Retro Duo, thank you for this. How often are you going to be playing games on stream? You know, I guess it is kind of rare sometimes, because it's a mixture of like, am I in the mood? Do I have time? And it's like a little bit of a perfect storm, but maybe I should do it more often. Yeah, probably not fantasy RPGs, like stuff that's like pretty involved. Probably sticking more closer to, like I said before, Little Nightmares, things like that. Just stuff that we can kind of like do together in like the course of 5 to 6 hours or something. John Hogan, thank you for the 1. Where can we submit horror stories and live encounter? Yeah, submit your stories to let's read submissions at gmail.com. That should be located in the description of all videos. I know, I'm so excited for Little Nightmares 3. It's gonna be so good. And I think there's like another like spiritual successor offshoot game coming out before it or something. I don't know if that's true. But John, thank you again. Thank you, Retro. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Sully. Would you play The Thing Remastered? Oh, like, I remember that one. That was on the Xbox. That's a lot more like action-oriented, but it could be interesting. It could be interested in me. All right. Get cozy, get comfy. We out here. Check over on the Twitch chat. We got 1 viewer over there. We're set, baby. We're bigger than Kai Cenat at this point. Wart. Another philosophy video. That would be good. For the music guy, I make music. I get 43 monthly listeners. I recommend trying to network with other artists in your scene and do hella features. If you're good at mixing or producing, work with other people. That's true too. You can, provide your services that way. Obviously, doing live sets, kind of getting your face out there. I guess what is the end goal? The end goal is to do tours, kind of like you're a stand-up comedian or something, but, a musical superstar. Boop, thank you for the 369. Tax, thank you, my friend. Oh yeah, don't even worry about the Twitch. It's all good. If we get people over, then we do. If not, I'm just happy that we figured out some good streaming settings to do both simultaneously. You liked and subscribed, perfect. Played the demo to the Little Nightmares at Gamescom back then. I had to wait 6 hours in the queue, but loved it. It's so good. It's just one of those ones where you just press forward and then survive, come across a puzzle, solve it, and just keep moving and enjoy the show. It's nice. And I love the physics. I don't know. They do it so well. I'm actually running out of videos for When I Sleep from You. I've had to start researching. There's not one video on your channel I haven't watched. That's crazy, KD. Thank you so much for that. You're getting into the deep cuts. Maybe you'll have to... I think I have a playlist on, like, times that I've, like, collaborated with other channels. But there's not very many in that playlist. But Lynn, welcome back for 28 months, is going to ease into Sleeperville. Take care, Joel Pradeep, and other socks. Sha. Ooh, woo. Thank you, Lynn. Sleep tight. And Joe Cordova, welcome to the Buttersock Hall. You now have access to bonus content. But yeah, the stream was fun last night. It was like the perfect length, and I felt like I get a little nervous when I do it initially, but then I kind of find my rhythm, and we're Gucci. And Joe, thank you for the gifter to Mike. Appreciate you. All right. Got this all lined up here. We're good. In early 2013, I was working for a large market research company here in New York City. I'd been there 6 years, I was very happy, and my career prospects were bright. And then one day, everything changed. It was a Wednesday morning, and after waking up at 6:15, I completed my morning routine and then walked down to the parking lot of my building. Mel, thank you for the 5. Says, hey chat, hey Let's Read, thanks for being here. Thank you, Mel. Good to see you. How you doing? Sadly, I missed it, but also the newest episode of Spotify. You did a story in my hometown. I got caught off guard. I named your old high school. That's crazy. I wonder who it was. Maybe someone you knew. Long night, your voice is Musfer. Thank you. You're welcome, Lake. Good to see you. Mine was one of maybe 12 to 14 in the lot, and then, as I'm walking toward it, I saw a lone figure leaning up against the wall near the hood of my car. It seemed to be a young man, early to late 20s, wearing a ball cap and hoodie, and as I walked to my car, the guy just kind of stared at me. I held his gaze, pretty cautious but not confrontational, and then as I got to my car, I asked if I could help him. Again, I wasn't overly confrontational about it, but he was standing by my car and quite obviously staring at me, so I figured I better work out what his deal was before I unlocked the door. I asked him, "Can I help you?" And then without skipping a beat, he replied, Can't nobody help you, homie. Okay. They added an additional word in there. Are all your videos recorded like this? Yeah, if you go to the live streams tab, you can see all of it. All of the process. Can you do a shout out to my wife, Megan BG, for her 36th birthday? Happy birthday, Megan. Big 3-6, baby. I'm almost there, too. I'll be 35 in June and another year. What you got to get done before Tuesday? Oh, yeah. Did you guys get your 2024 resolutions done? And David, thank you for 2. I sound much younger than 35. I know. Time has gone by quick, and I don't know. I guess since YouTube kind of took off pretty early, I haven't been like especially stressed. I don't have any kids or anything like that, so I know sometimes that seems to age people pretty quick with the lack of sleep and whatnot, and yeah, I get plenty of that. But yeah, Christmas was good though. It was a good, really, really, like, perfectly filled day. I asked him, can I help you?" And then without skipping a beat, he replied, "Can't nobody help you, homie." I figured he was just trying to be a smart ass, so I decided not to engage him any further. Just got into my car and then started backing up out of my parking space. But then as I did, and the whole time this hoodie guy is just staring at me, grinning from ear to ear, sort of this type of "can't nobody help you, homie" was... What the fuck is this saying? But then as I did, and the whole time, hoodie guy is just staring at me, grinning from ear to ear, like his... Oh, okay. Sorry. Just turned 59. No, it's all good. I mean, I don't know. Is being old even bad? Is it bad? What do you guys think? Being old bad? Is there a consensus that aging is not preferable? Submitting my graduate school applications right now. I'm thankful for the upload. It's giving me a break. Hope you have a good holiday break. Thank you, Faith. Good luck with grad school. Hope you get in. And hope you're lucky as many die young. I guess that's true, yeah. You get to live a full, fulfilling life. I mean, in many ways, yeah, life is just not really necessarily guaranteed to anybody. And the fact that we even have to sit here and contemplate growing old as being not great means that you got to do it. But then as I did, and the whole time, hoodie guy is just sort of staring at me, grinning from ear to ear, like his little "can't nobody help you, homie" thing was the dunk of all dunks. And on the drive to work, I got cut off or flipped off maybe a dozen times, all in the space of 30 minutes. And then by the time one of my boss's pain-in-the-ass midweek meetings were finished, I had practically forgotten all about that hoodie guy and his very nonsensical quip. And I went about my day as usual, which was actually a pretty busy one too, so it wasn't until late in the afternoon that the encounter popped into my head again. Assuming the guy was there to steal a car, or maybe pull a smash and grab to score some valuables, somebody in my apartment building was about to have a really bad day. But little did I know, even though my car was safely in the employee parking lot, it was still me that was about to have that really bad day. And so, the working day ends, I drive back home, and as I'm pulling into the parking lot, I'm not seeing any broken windows or broken glass in my empty parking spaces, so I figured that we got off lucky. But then, after I walked upstairs to the floor my apartment was on, I turned a corner on my corridor, and I see it. Or, more accurately, I smell it. Someone had pooped all over my door. Not like a regular poop either. I'm talking like liquid diarrhea from the spray pattern, and it looked like it had hit my door with considerable force. And I remember just staring at it for a second, in complete disbelief, thinking, please God, no. This can't be freaking happening right now. And then when the smell hit my nostrils, I had to cover up my nose and mouth to keep from gagging. I walked right back down to my car, called an emergency cleaning company, and then called block management to get me copies of the building's security camera footage. All our main doorways and corridors had cameras, which was half the reason I'd chosen to rent there in the first place. And so the process of contacting management and obtaining copies of that day's footage was a quick and very easy one. After getting those emergency cleaners over and tipping them pretty well for how short notice the job was, I was able to get into my apartment probably by around 9:30. I made some coffee, sat down on my laptop, and just started sifting through the footage that block management had placed in an online Dropbox for me. Now, it took me a while to get to the right section of that footage, but sometime in the early afternoon, some hooded figure approached my apartment building's main entrance. This guy was also wearing a hoodie and ball cap combo, but unlike the guy in the parking lot that morning, this one appeared to be wearing a high... Oops. Shit. We had a decent tear there for a little bit. Aging versus the alternative is much better. As I get older, the filters come off. I'm not afraid of others' opinions. That's good, yeah, I mean, what's the point, really? Because I've said before, it's like, you think, I mean, it still affects me, other people's opinions, but if you think about your thoughts and your opinions on others and how they essentially have no effect on them for the most part, at least objectively speaking, other than what you might hinder from them or whatever, that would just mean that other people's opinions of you are just as worthless and pointless, you know? What is your favorite Reddit horror story you've ever read? Man. I remember there was like a no sleep one that always creeped me out about like a dude being up inside of like this communications tower at like an airport, and there was like a field across from where the planes would pull in, and then he would just like see some like woman in tattered clothes like sprinting across the field towards his tower, and then he would call it in, and then nothing happened. And slowly, after like seeing it over and over again, he started hearing like banging on the door and that kind of stuff. And yeah, of course, the steamroller story, but that was 4chan, which was pretty funny. Alright. Have you seen Terrifier and or the Emoji Movie? I haven't seen the Emoji Movie. You know what's really funny though? I remember my buddy's wife, she got really high one time with him, just on like marijuana, like edibles or something, and they watched the Emoji Movie, and I don't know what happened to her or what reaction she had or what was in the edible, but she got so high that like watching the Emoji Movie made her feel like she was stuck in hell for like the whole night, and she like she just couldn't shake the fact that she was like stuck in hell, and the Emoji Movie was hell. Which is so fun. That's you right now. But yeah, I've seen Terrifier 1 and 2. I haven't seen the third one yet though. Favorite SpongeBob episode? So like this Christmas, I had to stop by my buddy's house with his daughters to drop their presents off like really fast, and because I had to go meet my one brother, and they were going to put SpongeBob on and then put a Christmas episode, which I think involved like Sandy being like hibernating, and they were like in her house trying to get her to wake up but didn't know why she was asleep so hard or whatever. But I just remember before she put it on, the youngest one, who's like 4, was just like bawling because she didn't want to watch SpongeBob, which I just thought was odd. But then like within seconds of it coming on, she just immediately takes a chair and like plops it in front of the TV and just sits there and fucking like is transfixed by SpongeBob. But I also looked around and I'm like, I noticed all of us were like very much into it, and I'm like, hell yeah, dude, SpongeBob rocks. The Hashling and Slasher is a good episode. Where you can find the Emoji Movie free online. I'm sure you can find it somewhere. It might even be on YouTube, free movies. Did you know YouTube had free movies? It's like a whole YouTube channel. It's kind of cool. This guy was also wearing a hoodie and ball cap combo, but unlike the guy in the parking lot that morning, this one appeared to be wearing a fluorescent vest while carrying a package. Now, assuming that he was a delivery guy, I figured that he was going to walk to an apartment, deliver the package, and then turn around and leave. But he didn't. Instead, he walked up to my apartment, put the package down, and then dropped his pants, and as you know, browned all over my door. When he finished, he didn't even wipe. He just pulled his pants back up and then walked out of the building so calmly that it was almost like it were an everyday thing for this guy. And I could barely believe what I was seeing. But there it was, clear as day, and maybe the weirdest thing to me at the time was, it wasn't even the same hoodie and ball cap guy that I'd seen that morning. Or at least I was 90% sure that it wasn't. He was too tall, too broad, and although I had a massive hunch that the two people were connected, I had zero clues as to why they were targeting me. I called the cops, but they were no help whatsoever, and even suggested that I try and rule out the possibility that it was a friend of mine pulling some kind of prank. And after I very politely explained that I didn't have any friends that would poop on my door, they said that they'd be in touch if there were any developments, and kind of laughed. But it was me who called them back the very next morning. I woke up at 6:15, completed my browned. He's browning everywhere. Joel, what is the outro line for this video going to be? I don't know. You'll have to think of it. Probably closer to when we are towards the end, so I don't forget. Thanks so much, friends, and remember not to brown on my door. Joe, if you ever run out of money, you should be one of the guys that goes, "You've been served," and you have the voice for it. I feel like, honestly, I'm surprised more of those guys who get, like, served court dates and stuff don't get shot. Or, like, attacked. Granted, I'm sure they have something where if you attack them, you're attacking, like, a police officer or something. Straight G. How old am I? I am 34. You've been served while browning on someone's, yeah. You give it to him. You've been served, and then you brown directly, projectile onto their face and body. Then pull up your pants and walk out. I woke up at 6:15, completed my morning routine, and then walked down to the parking lot to find my car had been near destroyed in the middle of the night. I called work, told my boss what had happened, and he very kindly gave me the day off so I could talk to the cops and arrange alternative transportation. Now, when I called the cops, I spoke to a different department about my car getting trashed, but they seemed just as useless as the first time that I called. They said that they'd review all the security camera footage I could provide, but since all the hooded perps' faces were covered, I knew that there wasn't much that they'd be able to do with it. And I only barely found the motivation to email it over to the address they provided, and then by early evening, I was starting to have some very worrying thoughts. Since I was obviously being targeted at home, it seemed foolish to continue staying in my apartment. And so after my car got towed away for repair, I found a decent-looking 3-star hotel that had some vacancies nearby and then took a taxi there to make a booking. I called my dad from the hotel room, just to ask his advice and whatnot, and he agreed that it was very concerning that his group of people seemed to know where I lived. It was one thing for some a-hole to target my car after seeing me drive it, but it was another for this hooded pooper to know exactly which door to do his business on. There was also a clear clear paternity. Don't get stuck in the emoji movie. Yeah, we can, if you could remind me later. Forgot how I miss of what Joel is saying because I'm too busy watching the chat. That's okay. I mean, you guys can just treat the chat as sort of a big chat room to make friends and whatnot. Because to me, I think that's kind of one of the distinct advantages of like YouTube chat, sometimes over like Twitch chat, is that it seems like people actually do become familiar with one another in YouTube chats, whereas, or at least mine, whereas Twitch chat, it seems like it goes so fast, or I don't know, like everyone seems relatively disengaged or something, or you get like one response from somebody and then like they just forget about you and focus on the streamer, which is understandable, but it's just strange. Fix the members only videos, pretty please. What do you mean fix them? What happened? You got me worried. You got me turdied. Did something occur? Hey Mariah, how you doing? Let's see, playlist. Members only. Can't watch with phones off. Oh yeah. I don't know why it does that, you know? I don't know why that is. And, you know, that's unfortunately a YouTube end thing, because obviously you can do it whenever you have, like, YouTube Red. Maybe it's like you become a member, but you also have to become YouTube Premium. Oh, okay, then when you get both. See, that's kind of lame. I feel like in a weird way, if people can become members to YouTube channels, they should also get some degree of like YouTube Premium specific to that channel. You know what I mean? Like, even if it's just specific to that channel, that would be like sort of a payout, you know? Yeah, what are you guys doing for New Year's? Sounds really cool to have both Twitch and YouTube going. Sounds trippy. Yeah, is one ahead of the other? There was also a clear pattern of escalation, so logically speaking, the next thing that they were going to do was attempt to attack me in my apartment, which, as it turns out, is exactly what they tried to do. I had no idea who they were, and technically I still don't know, but at the time, it made the whole thing doubly frightening and confusing for me. Like, how in the hell had such a conflict suddenly started over a staring contest and a brief exchange of words? And who the hell were the guys targeting me? Were they a gang or something? Were they brothers, cousins, maybe even just friends, and I just so happened to have messed with the crazy one? And besides all of that, how far were these guys willing to take this? Well, apparently as far as breaking into my apartment and smashing the entire place to smithereens. So remember how I mentioned booking that hotel room? Well, I decided if I was going to stay there for a week or more, then I was going to hit up my apartment to take care of a few things and then grab a few home comforts to take back to my hotel. And after work, I took a cab back to my apartment, walked upstairs, then, what do you know? My apartment door is hanging off of its hinges, and one of my neighbors is just sort of standing there, looking like he's seen a ghost. When I walk inside, I understand why. Whoever broke into my apartment had trashed the entire place. The glass in my shower was smashed and they destroyed my bed frame, and then the TV room and kitchenette were both carpeted off. Carpeted? Oh. Carpet, like carpet bombing? Members only videos won't play when the phone is closed, even with premium YouTube. Oh, strange. Well, maybe I can... Let me write that down, because I do have a contact at YouTube I can kind of bring that up to. And perhaps I could say something to them just to kind of make them aware, because obviously if nobody says anything, nothing gets done, so might as well bitch to HR. YouTube bonus, no play with premium. Dude, I have a... That's all I have here is a marker. Writing with a marker sucks. They should invent something else other than markers, like a pen or a pencil. Other languages, just Minion. The glass in my shower was smashed. They destroyed my bed frame. Then the TV room and kitchenette were both carpeted with chunks of glass and porcelain from where they had been doing impressions with... What? From where they've been doing... What? Oh, baseball. A baseball reference. Who the fuck is Chappie? Who is Chappie in baseball? Chappie is a nickname commonly associated with Aroldis Chapman, a Major League Baseball pitcher. Oh. Well, I guess they do have to hit balls. Known for his blazing fastballs, Chapman has been one of the most dominant closers in baseball. Oh. Used by fans, teammates, highlighting his unique talent larger than... Oh, okay. I wonder if he's good at hitting, though. His blazing balls. Am I excited for the new year? Not really. I mean, I do like to eat food with friends and stuff, but 2025 has me like on edge for some reason. The glass in my shower was smashed. They destroyed my bed frame, and then the TV room and kitchenette were both carpeted with chunks of glass and porcelain from where they'd been doing Chappie impressions with the contents of my cabinets. That's a terrible baseball reference, by the way. They'd torn up all the art that had been on my walls. My TV and laptop had been obliterated, but by far the worst and most hurtful thing, they smashed my fish tank, and they killed all my fish. I was devastated. Genuinely and soul-shatteringly devastated. To F with me and my stuff? Whatever, man. But to dry drown my fish like that, to hurt innocent little creatures, just living their happy little SeaWorld lives. It took everything I had not to just have a total breakdown in front of my neighbor. Now cut to about an hour later from that, I'm back in my hotel room and I'm faced with two very cold hard facts. Firstly, I was going to have to call the cops for the third time in as many days, and secondly, I had no choice but to find another place to live. But still, the thread that ran through all 3 days, and the thing that had me practically tearing my own teeth out in frustration, was obviously why. It didn't make any sense, not anymore. Some psycho trashing my car and pooping on my door because we had a minor confrontation. There was a sort of perverse logic to that, especially if there was some homeless guy on drugs. But I was just left there asking myself, if I was home that night, would they have killed me? And how had things managed to escalate to the point that in just 3 days, all of this from a minor confrontation? It was like a nightmare, one I'd have done anything to wake up from, but it wasn't over just yet, not by a long shot. First off, when I got the security camera footage from block management, who by this point were not happy with all the trouble I was bringing home, I saw that it was the usual suspects, so to speak. Instead of a group of hooded hoodlums bursting into my apartment, similar to the group that had trashed my car, these guys looked different. They were wearing all black, with face masks and gloves. They looked like pros. It was almost terrifying. And that's the point that I decided that I was never going to lay my head there ever again, and I started looking for new places to live. But then a few days later, there was another serious escalation. One that made me realize that finding a new place to live might not solve anything at all. I'd taken to riding the metro to and from Grand Central, but that meant that walking several blocks from the station to our office Show the feet. You'll have to pry them from my cold, dead tootsies. You listened to Oh Death 3 before you watched 1 and 2. That's okay. You were just having the Tarantino experience. Also, the game that I played on my stream last night was like told out of chronological order, which was quite interesting. Now, I'd taken to riding the metro to and from Grand Central, but that meant walking several blocks from the station to our office building. Now, I actually didn't mind all that much. It gave me a chance to get a bite to eat after work, and the metro seemed considerably more civilized than the subway. And then, coupled with the peace of mind it gave me, knowing that I wasn't headed anywhere I could be targeted, it made for quite a nice change of pace. But then one day, as I'm turning from Park Avenue onto East 47th, I hear someone call my name. I was just walking along, eating my little box of halal cart street meats and fries, and I hear someone yell my name in a way that suggested that they were glad to see me. And that's the only reason I turned around in the first place. If they'd sounded mad or literally widowy anything, delete my Twitter, yeah. I just thought it was kind of pointless, you know what I mean? Like, I don't get I don't get any likes on any of my tweets. I haven't like gotten any like new following on there in like years, you know what I mean? And I don't really like being on Twitter. I don't really find it to be like a fun place per se, and not even really related to Elon or anything like that. Like I don't really care about all that kind of stuff, but it's just, even long before that, the website is just boring. You get on there and people have arguments with each other, and you like my tweets, Justin? Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I rarely get on Twitter either. Well, it's just so strange because it's like you can get on Instagram or TikTok and or YouTube Shorts and scroll for hours and hours and lose track of time, and you can laugh and learn and love and all sorts of stupid shit, you know, but like what the fuck are you gaining from being on Twitter? I haven't seen like anybody ever have like a productive experience on there. And then any of the funny tweets, like the actually funny tweets that people might post, they end up getting screenshotted and just like put onto other social media websites later anyways, so whatever. Do I listen to Hillary Duff? I do remember her on Disney back in the day. Does she still exist and make music and stuff? She's not addicted to opiates and dead? I rarely get on Twitter either. Everything is AdSense for big techs. Yeah, I mean, what do you do? What's like your workflow on there? Because you can get on Instagram and like immediately start scrolling, but like Twitter, like do you say stuff? Do you argue with people? Like what the fuck am I? I'm like a narration channel. What am I supposed to argue with anyone about? Hey, I don't like what you said about that guy. It doesn't sound very nice. Try to actually make you lose a job with the company people we work for. Yeah, exactly. Like, why do people's tweets, the most innocuous, pointless, idiotic fucking website of all time, get brought up in congressional hearings like it's like an official fucking like document from like Nazi Germany, World War II? Like, it doesn't make any sense why it has so much power over people. It's a terrible, terrible website. I sound like Papa Meat there for a second. That's funny. Many people were making money. I mean, so one of the inspirations to delete it was I remember seeing, you've seen the commentary guy, his name is Mudahar. He deleted his Twitter. And I was like, that's kind of a brilliant idea, because like he's actually like in the conversation, you know what I mean? Like he does commentary videos, drama videos, talks about all sorts of random shit, has like a pretty like huge following on his Twitter, gets a lot of likes on his stuff, you know what I mean? And he said that he made next to like no money on like some of his most popular tweets, right? So in my mind, someone who gets like 20 likes on a tweet, I'm like, I can't even look forward to making money off the stupid fucking brain rot website, you know? So I'm just like, and there's not a single person in like the political sphere that I could ever for a second give a shit about what they have to say on Twitter, you know? So I'm just like, I'm out of here, dude. You for East Coast or West Coast? I mean, I live East Coast, but West Coast does seem to be warmer sometimes. Hello, Brazil. Hello. Hola, hola. I delete my Instagram app because it's forever trying to get me to check my notifications. Oh, I guess you could turn off like the push notifications and stuff. You just use Twitter for sports. Yeah, I mean, I don't really care about sports or politics. I mean, I'm interested in that kind of stuff, but not enough to like keep up to date whenever fucking Manny Pacquiao is taking a fucking shit, or Jerry Jones has finally had a stroke. And it's like if Jimmy Carter, died, and hypothetically the first person to post about it did it on Twitter, and I didn't get to hear that information until 5 minutes later on another stupid social media website, I think I'd be fine. Oh, Threads, yeah. I mean, yeah. Why even waste their time making another Twitter clone? Have I been on the dark web? I've never been on the dark web. It kind of sounds terrifying, to be honest with you. Hopefully this story eventually mentions the dark web at some point. I guess it does at some point. If you posted some of your stories, it could be huge. They are amazing. I don't know. It's just not even worth getting back on there in the first place. Danny with the 10 says, buy a new face mask. No, I'm going to be using the same pair of panties that I used since the beginning of the pandemic. Everywhere I go, I still wear them. Like a superhero. With a brown stain on the front. Lace or silk? Definitely lace. If they sounded mad or literally anything but as happy as they sounded, I'd have kept my eyes front and picked up the... What is this saying? I can't decipher this. If they'd sounded mad, comma, or hyphen, literally anything but as happy as they sounded, dash, I'd have kept my eyes front and picked up the pace in the hopes of losing... Maybe that would have been easier if it said front and center. Or forward. I don't know. Whatever. Hey, Rose. Thank you. Good to see you. You're a political junkie. Yeah, no worries, Rick. I've just come to the conclusion that, like, we are being taken for a fucking ride, man. It just feels like the closer that we get to the implementation of like blockchain more and more into the cultural zeitgeist to eventually becoming our primary form of currency or some sort of reserve currency or some just bullshit that I know eventually is going, like some type of crisis event is going to push more people towards either Bitcoin or some type of stable coin. And then it's just going to be further and further surveillance state and whatever other odd stuff they hope to like hack our biology with, whether it's fucking manipulating our emotions or quite literally affecting our blood pressures and hormones. And I don't know, shit just annoys the fuck out of me. I'm just done with it. And I'm sick and tired. I'm just sick and tired of people putting their hope into a top-down system, right? It's like from the top down, like obviously it seems like that's the only way that things are going to change, but change only begins within yourself, and then it expands outward from your community. There's not a single goddamn fucking billionaire that's going to save your life or make anything better, I promise you. I just deactivated my Facebook account a few days ago. It feels much better for it. However, I will need to sell some items on Marketplace. Other than that, it's gross. I mean, you could make like a side Facebook account if you're just doing Marketplace stuff and just not, not be friends with your family or friends or whatever and just keep it solely for that purposes. How's the cat doing? He's good. He is at my feet right now, laying on his black blankie. My game is a crypto game, but it's 100% free-to-play platform. Bank of America has been using blockchain to do stock trades for years now. Interesting. What do you mean crypto game, Jackie Chan? Isn't that like kind of like disliked within like the game realm, incorporating any sort of like NFT type stuff? Nosferatua. My cat's name is Perdeep. Perdeep. Literally grew up with politician family members, and BS actually a significant reason I got away from PA amongst other things. I just don't give a fuck. And yeah, you don't have to give a fuck. There's so many people that will sit there and like emotionally blackmail you because you don't think like them, or they'll say that you're not informed, or you'll say you're not whatever. But give me one fucking reason why being informed has ever like assisted most people in the past decade, or I won't even say that. What I'm saying is like most of the time, if you were to just go through most of your life completely ignorant to what the fuck is going on in Earth, especially as an American, or from the context of being an American, that's really all I really know. What difference would it have fucking made in my life? All it did was fill my brain with like anxiety and some sort of strange connection to the identity of it, which then made me realize that people only really like you if they feel that they can trust you and that you think the same way that they do. And it's just like, it's so brain dead. You have to fucking disconnect from that stuff. You have to, or it's just gonna like destroy you, at least a little bit. It's gonna pick you apart slowly. What's it say? Subsidiarity? What is that? Weasel theory? What's up, Joel? Haven't made it to a live in a while. How are you doing? Well, thank you, Liz. Doing good, yeah. Day 3 of Ask Joel for feet. Just begging, please, I'll make brown for it. Hey, BG, thank you, man. Good to see you. You're the dumbest person you know, and that's fine. Honestly, the quicker you recognize that you're kind of ignorant and relatively unable to change anything other than yourself, that's when you really become intelligent, in my opinion. Because if you just sit there and act like every fucking liberal or fucking Republican character who sits there and argues with each other, it's like, looks like a fucking Kamala voter, or looks like a Trump voter. Like, you just, what are you doing? You are under the presumption that some type of two-party system, and the one that you specifically chose with, most likely based off of like some idpol political issue, led you to the truth. Most likely not. It's a game that uses blockchain, but you don't have to buy anything. Buying anything is like buying optional weapon skins in other games. No, when you say blockchain, it uses blockchain to like sell the skins, or is it just simulating blockchain? The political vitriol reminds me of 2 competing hometown high school football teams. Yeah, and it never used to be that way. When I was in college, like, no one, when there was every fucking person you talked to in the year 2011 would literally say like, I don't really care about politics. I don't really care about politics. It's two sides of the same coin. And that was fine to say that. And now, the introduction of like Trumparoni and, you know, in conjunction with playing back and forth with the media, it just sort of creates this excessive divisiveness that I'd otherwise not really seen in culture until the past like decade. And it's such a waste of fucking energy. Found your channel a little while ago, and it's the first time I turned. Love your channel. Oh, thank you. Thank you, friend. Good to see you. Fears of Fathom. That was one I wanted to write down too. We could play that on stream. Fears of Fathom. You know what? Maybe that'll definitely 100% be the next one, because that has faux show been the most requested since yesterday. From personal experience, cryptocurrency will never 100% because recent Hurricane Helene shut down our power, so paper and coin money was the only way to pay. Right. But I think it would be one of those things where they almost like convince you, whether it's some type of cyber attack, it would be completely antithetical to that idea to like go further into the blockchain to like house people's money and stuff. But there's got to be some type of financial chaotic event to push people further to the blockchain so you can surveil them way, way, way easier. Because that's the only thing that the government ever cares about, is just making it so you have like no upward mobility and making it so they can surveil every possible fucking breath that you take. Is it gross that I'm a media major and really enjoy it, but hate the media itself? I'm going to make it far. I mean, you'll probably find out pretty quick within that sense of media that you're going to do a lot better operating independently, because you won't have to sell your soul and you can actually have your own opinions. And there's plenty of websites to do it, at least for now. I don't know. At least it seems like independent thought and independent content creation is the future. Subsidiarity is a principle that states that social and political issues should be addressed at the most local level possible. I agree. I would like to get rid of the federal income tax and tell them to go fuck themselves and stop sending all our money off to bomb shit. I think we would make it pretty far if the only tax that was taken from us is the relatively limited percentage that comes from local and state. And though I understand the arguments for federal income tax to some degree, it just feels usually inappropriate. Tax megachurches. That's the whole point of starting a megachurch, though. Tax-free, baby. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll actually say that this is a church, the Buttersock Cult. JK. Rick Campbell, thank you for the big 20, my friend. Says, I'm going to call it a night, but I love your program. Twitter is certainly not for everyone. No, I feel you, Rick. Just, take your garlic. Keeps your immune system up and keeps the blood flowing. Thank you so much for the 20. Joel Osteen, Hurricane Shelter for... Yeah, exactly. I had to listen to Pound Town to me and my friends and need a palate cleanser. What's Pound Town? Is that a podcast? If they'd sounded mad or literally anything but as happy as they sounded, I'd have kept my eyes forward and picked up the pace in the hopes of losing them in the crowd. But they didn't sound mad. They sounded almost excited, so I turned, expecting to see an old friend or old coworker or something. But instead, I see a total stranger, and the stranger jogs up to me and just sort of goes, boom, and punches me square in the face. I fell backwards. My street meats got tumbled all... Oh, that's right, the halal stuff. I'm halaling. Is that a DMT alien? It is, yeah. It's trying to communicate with one of your brain cells right as we speak. You have to open up your third eye right now. You have Amanita muscaria gummies. I'm gonna go berserk. Oh, like trip gummies? Do you have any suggestions of a free voice recording editor? Yeah, I mean, Audacity is open source and people tend to really, really enjoy it. Pound Town is a song by Sexy Red. It's so bad. It's so funny, like, hearing that sentence is like, to me right now, I already feel like a boomer, where people like mention, popular artists or whatever, and I'm just like, I have no fucking clue who that is or what that song is. You might as well just like tell it to like a peasant from the 1400s or something. Because like right now, we could come up with some arbitrary future artist. You know what? I got one. Their name is Anal Sex, but it's spelled A-N-A with an umlaut over it, like German, with an L, and then another L, space, S-E like a euro, and then just normal X. And the song is called Fuck You, I Want to Go to Prison Right Now, Please and Thank You, Just Kidding. Boom. We just made a future banger. You're 32 and a parent of 2. I shouldn't know this song either. No, that's your walk-in song on fight night. I agree with Joe's a fellow 33-year-old. I started saying music was better in 2010, so all these new... Yeah. I mean, I do really enjoy, like, some new songs or whatever, but I don't know. It's just funny. It's just funny how, like, they're really... Like, I've just come to realize, like, rap stars, various other, like, pop stars, and certain ones stick around for a while, but most of the time they just kind of have their 1 to 2 year run, and then they're just sort of forgotten by time. You'll have somebody that, like, that week where they're saying, like, he's the GOAT. They're the GOAT. Sexy Red is the GOAT. And then the next week they're like, fucking Sexy Red. Bro, that was so 2025, bro. Get the fuck out of here. There's really amazing Web3 game communities, but the most games industry is about 1% that are worth your time. Yeah, I think that's cool though, that a ton of people are like putting their creative energy into making interactive games and shit. That is pretty awesome. I do have a narrative voice. Thanks. You were born in 2006, you feel young. That does sound young. I don't even know how the fuck old. I can't even do math. My suggestion now, get to the gym ASAP. Begin that routine in your life as soon as you can so you have it for the rest of your life. Oh, my cat just like stretched his leg out and put his back leg on my foot. That's funny. Hey, see you, Riley. Take care. I fall backwards. My street meats go tumbling all over me, and the stranger goes running off, still shouting my name, but also adding stuff like, "You suck, dude. You suck." No, it being New York, only 3 of the maybe 24 people who saw me get decked were like, "Oh, damn, you okay, buddy?" and walked over to see if I was okay. And needless to say, I was not. At that point, I had had a few days of nothing happening. I had a ton of crap to deal with in terms of getting my car roadworthy again and finding a new place to live, and I still had the mystery of the whole thing bearing down on me. But there was this short period where I thought that the worst had come and gone. Something weird and effed up was going on, but once they figured out where I lived, finding me was a piece of cake, I guess. But after the punch, I realized they, whoever they were somehow able to track me during my commute. Realizing that I wasn't safe anywhere, possibly not even in my own goddamned hotel room, this took everything to a whole nother level of stress and fear for me. And it might sound pathetic to some, so might as well say it like it is, but I literally wanted to run home to my mommy and daddy. I just didn't know where else to turn to, because the police had only just started to take things seriously, and by that point I was obviously in way over my head and in serious danger. But the real dilemma was knowing that if I did head home to my parents' place, I might potentially lead my attackers there and put my parents at risk too. I couldn't even tell them how bad it had gotten by then because I knew they'd insist on intervening in some way, which again might put them at risk. I had the cops, and I had my boss because once they understood how serious the situation was, my employers were very understanding and basically put me on indefinite paid leave until the whole situation could be rectified. And so between the cops, my bosses, my coworkers, my soon-to-be ex-landlords, and my prospective new landlords, my phone was very active. I spent long periods of time returning phone calls and responding to text messages, and I became very accustomed to seeing my screen light up with unknown and withheld phone numbers. A few nights later, I was in a different hotel room when my phone starts buzzing on the desk with number... You're 32, which is 57 in gay years. I don't even... What is that? What does that mean? That sounds extraordinarily suspect. And I feel like you need to get away from said community ASAP. Did I like reading as a kid? No, I didn't. I had a definitive disdain for reading as a child. And I still do. I still like, if I sit and read, not like in this situation, but like just for pleasure on my own, it like drains my brain, and I feel tired and I feel unstimulated, and I don't know. Unless it's like the type of reading that I do enjoy is not so much like fiction as much as like, I guess, nonfiction. Stuff that sort of is recounting information. Something about like reading about information does actually feel okay. You aged very gayfully. You've done a great job. About to go to sleepies. It's a real thing. Gays are harsh. So wait, like... I don't even know. I'm not even sure how to interpret that. So like as a 32-year-old gay person, feet, you, so you're basically saying it's really hard to find a date or something like that? Because I know that it would be really, like, because so much of the community sometimes is just very sexually transient, you kind of can find obviously a hookup partner, but like good luck finding a, you know, like a friend or a, you know, husband or what, you know what I mean? That kind of like something serious long term. Because I've had gay friends and they say it's just fucking a nightmare all the time for them, dealing with like the fear of like someone actually being like violent or crazy or whatever. Like that the community is filled with a lot of like mental illness and things like that as well as like the hypersexuality of it. I don't know. It does seem very, very rough. Do I have ADHD? No, I don't really believe in ADHD, to be honest with you. I just kind of feel like some people have certain personality traits that can be learned or unlearned through locking the heck in. Or if their brain does bounce from place to place, I do see like there's a use to that in other avenues, and that it doesn't necessarily need any sort of like labeling, or certainly not like medication. It just you just have things you're more inclined to. You're a female Bigfoot, by the way. Long teats. Long dangly teats. Gay men are harsh. It's the age brackets. Lesbians, on the other hand, tend to have age gaps. I speak from experience. I just remember like whenever I was finally got out of high school and I had some gay friends, almost instantaneously they were like getting with like dudes who were like 40-year-old fucking dudes, right? And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, but I don't know, to them it was just like fine. Like, it's chill, you know, he's cool, he's good. And I don't know where that, you know, if it manifests to anything good or if it was a incredibly manipulative situation. I have no fucking clue, but it definitely seems to be relatively prominent. Oops. I just got into a game called Phasmophobia and was thinking maybe in a way you could do a story based off of the game. It's Ghost Adventure Game Paranormal. Oh yeah, I guess because they go in there and do sort of ghost paranormal research type stuff. A few nights later, I was in a different hotel room when my phone starts buzzing on the desk with "Number Private" written on the screen. I didn't hesitate for a second. I swiped the call open, brought my phone to my ear, and was greeted by someone very well spoken and confident who had a very deep voice. When the guy used my name, I figured it was either a cop or someone responding to a tenancy application that I'd filled out. And yet slowly but surely I realized that the call was someone whoops, I skipped a word, I think. Adderall helps me centralize the gravitational swing of my female teats, says an ADHD Bigfoot. Thank God something helps you. You'd be flying all over the place otherwise. You'd be getting caught in like tree branches, which would be quite painful. It's a scarcity thing. It's hard to find someone to vibe with. Now amplify it by being gay. The pool is smaller. The majority of girlfriends were long distance. You know, that's a good point too. Yeah, I mean, what percentage of the population is gay? Therefore, you know, finding someone that you mesh with, there might be larger age gaps there. I dated someone non-existent when I was 22 to 34. Non-existent, really? Like an AI that you found out later was not real? Dude, that would be the worst. Can you imagine like being in love with someone long distance for like a solid years to finally get to meet them, and then they just don't show up and they don't exist. What's up, Georgie? How you doing? Also, I figured out a great combat. Maybe somebody can make this meme for me. But you know the meme where it's like, let him cook? And then there's the other meme, sort of vernacular, where it says like, she ate with this one. Well, you know where I'm going with it. A couple where the boyfriend cooks and it says, let him cook. And then the girlfriend gets to eat whatever the fuck he makes. What's my Twitter username? I don't have it anymore. I killed it. Destroyed it. Destroyed it. Destroyed it. Do have you had your own personal paranormal supernatural experience? Not like a lot. There are times, like even during stream, where I swear to God, I still hear like on the rooftop, like someone like walking, you know? Not directly on my roof, but like on the floor above. Didn't start going to the gym because I'm dying from some type of virus. Oh, you got sick. I'm sorry. That's alright, Katie. New Year's is coming. And honestly, don't be embarrassed to just try it out. What's my favorite Pokemon? Dragonite, for sure. I love Dragonite. It's just something so cool about it. I remember seeing it in, like, I think the second movie. Was it, or was it the first movie? I think it might have been maybe the first movie, because yeah, that was, dude, that movie was so fucking good as far as animations and stuff go. But I remember Dragonite was like delivering letters and stuff to Ash to invite them to like come fight at whatever, but it was like Mewtwo, like tricking everybody to go out there to make clones and shit. And I don't know, I always thought it'd be sick to be some sort of dragon trainer where you like ride on the back of your Dragonite everywhere you go. Do you ever get scared yourself reading from the web? No, I don't know. I guess it's just kind of turned my brain off from it at this point, even though I suppose it does make me relatively aware. Do I have Blue Sky? No. Once again, similar to Threads, it's like, why would you just, if you don't enjoy Twitter, why would you want to go to another place that's just Twitter too, you know, and have to deal with the same exact like dumbos. And once again, not even necessarily like the crazy opinions and stupid ideas that people say, and just the format of the website is not geared towards like capturing my brain, you know. Someone in my town named their kids Dragonair, Onyx, and Eevee. That is nuts, dude. Maybe middle names if you're like a mega dork, which still would be nuts, but having your first name be named after Pokemon, holy fuck, that's just like asking them to be like bullied to death. Favorite horror movie? Oh man, I don't even know, honestly. Sometimes horror movies just really piss me off. That's like, I don't even know. Have you read any of your own personal stories here? Yeah, definitely in the past. It's been a while. Elon kid is doomed with his name. Yeah. I don't know if like Elon just thinks in his head, he's just like memeing at this point where he's like, I'm the richest man in the world. If ever there was generational wealth, it would be for me. And this, no matter what this guy's name is, he's gonna inherit like $1 billion or something and just do whatever the fuck he wants and go by whatever random middle name he wants or nickname. When I worked in a daycare, a family named the daughter after the Dragon Queen. Khaleesi, wow. That's crazy. Yeah, I remember Robin Williams named his kid Zelda. But for some reason, even as weird as that sounded, almost like, well, sure, you know, but now, I don't know. I feel like there has to be a certain sanctity, you know what I mean, to what you name your kid. It like lets people know how serious you are as a parent and how serious you want that kid to be taken for the rest of their life. Favorite ice cream flavor, man, they're all so good. Cookies and cream with like, if there was one where it was like cookies and cream with cookie dough in it and some degree of like peanut butter smushed all in it, sort of like a Moose Tracks scenario, that would be pretty fucking sick. The young man Joel with the old voice be lining it up like a playa. What's up, Baruch? How you doing, dude? Did you ever have gooey butter cake? I don't think I have. I wouldn't. That'd be so sick. Instead of like a wine tasting factory or whatever, or like event, go to an ice cream tasting day and just get a fucking scoop of everything. Ever had Ben and Jerry's? I've had Ben and Jerry's, yeah. Some of those are really good. I remember they would have them at like work when you would go through the lunch line. But it was just so funny, just like to go to your lunch area and just have a fucking like solid quart. Just have a solid quart of straight up cream. Long swinging hangers. When you see the silhouette of those, you must run. You must react quickly. Thank God you can smell her from a mile away. Or sometimes she gets caught in the branches. That would be a flavor, though. Celebrate LGBT month. Ben and Jerry's. We mixed cum into every batch. It's so delicious. Oh, and it's like rainbow colored. We got rainbow colored sherbet and fucking jizz. There you go, guys. Yet slowly but surely, I realized that call was from someone very different. He knew a lot about me, and he appeared to use the information to confirm it was actually me he was talking to. He used my name, named my employer, he even knew the address of my old apartment, the one I was planning on moving out of. I only answered one or two of his questions before I politely asked why he was calling, and that's when he introduced himself with the name Odin. Odin, which he made clear was not his real name, worked for some tech company out west, and the reason he was calling was that he had found some of my personal information on the internet. And at first I was like, okay, so what? Because I figured he was talking about my social media or the email address and phone number listed on my... Oh, that's Plankton on the moaning meme? I didn't even realize that was Plankton. I just thought that was like a disgusting piece of art someone did. Ben and Jerry's, only available in June at Kmart. Brought to you by BlackRock. Does anyone recognize me in real life? You know, I don't think they have. I've been fortunate. What's up, Christopher? Odin, which you... Oh, okay. What's one story that made you instantly say nope? Like I was scared of it? I've done some that are just maybe like people, I don't know, they just write stuff that's too much, you know? Where it's just gonna get demonetized probably. If you're being followed by long swinging hangers, dart left and right. Your pursuer may get her flailing teats wound up in the evergreens. It's like a whole manual of dodging a very droopy nippled Sasquatchian. Let's read is better than Mr. Nightmare. Don't let them hear you say that. If Mr. Nightmare hears, he will beat me till I go to bed. He is my father. Have you ever heard of the Alaskan pipeline? I work on it all day and all night. Odin which he made clear was not his real name, worked for some tech company out west, and the reason he was calling was that he had found some of my personal information on the internet. And at first, it was sort of like, okay, so what? Because I figured he was talking about my social media, or the email address and phone number listed on my employer's website. But that's not what Odin was referring to. He said my name, my old address, photos of me, and even things like my employment history were all available to read on a website he called Doxbin. And that name meant nothing to me at the time. I wasn't even sure exactly what he said, but these days, I still get a shudder when I read it or hear it spoken. For those that don't know, Doxbin was, or is, I heard it was back but I can't say for certain, a website that you can't access via your regular internet browser. It's located on what some people call the dark web, but Odin said it's more like the deep web, and from what I understand, all you really need is a special browser and you can see all the stuff you can't see on Chrome or Internet Explorer. Odin said that I could see for myself if I wanted to follow his instructions on how to download and install that special kind of browser. But after I agreed that it'd just be faster to send me the screenshots, he did that, and I saw for myself what was written on that website. Someone, I had no idea who at this stage, had not only listed all my personal information, they also claimed that I had several convictions involving inappropriate activities with children. The post essentially said that I was masquerading as my actual self because I was some pedo trying to relocate and make my new life for myself. Maybe I should say diddler. I feel like diddler might not get demonetized. Do I live on Long Island? Yeah, in a big castle. That's what you get when you do YouTube. You get a big castle to yourself. Do you know how to get Bell's Canyon? What is that? Is that like a cerebral palsy? Joel need to post the must. My cat is getting skinny and older. I'm literally having nightmares about losing her. It could be 10 years or 1 year. I just have anticipatory grief. Dude, this is going to sound real bad. You guys probably aren't going to want to hear this, but my friend just told me the worst possible story that was my worst nightmare ever. So my worst nightmare is like Pradeep getting outside and, somehow getting hit by a car. And then my friend, like, they had to move back in with their, like, in-laws for a little while. And then they would leave, like, the in-laws would, like, allow the cats to go into their back patio that was, like, screened off. But I think that there were, like, holes within the patio. And then the one cat, their, like, favorite cat, or, like, most social cat, got out and literally got hit by a fucking car. And then he found it, like, coming back, like, struggling to, like, breathe and, like, crawling and shit. And it was just, and he just, like, all he could do was just, like, hold it until it, like, died. And he just said it was, like, the most traumatic thing ever. And I'm like, fucking shit. That sucks. The post essentially said that I was masquerading as my actual self, because I was some diddler trying to relocate and make a new life for myself after charges were filed in Ohio and Illinois. And that's when it all clicked. The random guy trying to intimidate me, people pooping on my door, smashing my car, and punching me in the face, all related to that initial confrontation. It's just that initial confrontation came as a result of this wild online accusation from what I thought was a completely anonymous source. But it wasn't anonymous, not completely anyway. And not only had Odin used his computer wizardry to figure out who the post was from, but he seemed more than happy to share what he'd learned. And now from what I understand, the dark or deep web is mostly only accessible through anonymous browsers, and the vast majority of posts on Doxbin were from anonymous users. But Odin figured that he could do a little digging to find out who had pissed off so much. I'm pregnant and I can't read the animal stuff, sorry. Yeah, no, it's all good. It was just it wasn't in the story. I had a sweet cat named Lucky. He was hit by a truck. He wasn't... Oh, that's sad. Yeah, it just sucks. Losing a pet that way is just like such a lame way for it all to just end. And I think the worst part is like being friends with your animal and, you know, a close family member with them for so long that if you were to just like go to work and say like, oh yeah, my fucking literal borderline child, you know, in a way, a pet is that to people, is now dead. It's just like, how's anybody even supposed to like sort of empathize with your experience, you know? Because either way, they're just going to be like, all right, back to work. Hey Liz, Merry Christmas. Oh yeah, and I apologize for telling that story. I know it's depressive, but it was just new, you know, and just like such a fucking rough thing. We can talk about something else now. But Odin figured he'd do a little digging to find out who I'd pissed off so much that they'd want to ruin my life. He Googles my name, but nothing really came up, so he checks out the charges and finds the whole Doxbin post is just some elaborate lie. Odin then circles back to trying to figure out who's mad at me and ends up searching for people who have recently separated from the research company I worked for. He finds one guy who looks like he knows his way around a Tor browser, a real takes-one-to-know-one kind of deal. He then discovers his kindred spirit has a blog on the surface web, something he can peruse at his leisure. And that's when he realizes that the writing styles of his posts and the one on Doxbin revealing my info are almost identical. Odin explained all that for about a minute or two before I practically begged him to tell me the name of the suspect. And then when he told me, it was like this sort of holy crap moment where everything suddenly came together and started making sense. I don't want to say the guy's name. I'd rather take the high ground and not dox the doxer, so to speak, but I immediately recognized it from a review I'd conducted, which had just so happened to contribute to this guy's severance from the company. It was lazy. He was lazy, but... What do I do besides YouTube? I just chill, work out, hang out with people, play video games. I need to do something else though. Playing a lot of like Marvel. It is kind of funny, maybe it's just because I played Overwatch for so many years, but Overwatch brought back like 6v6, at least to like test things out. It does seem that they're going to go back to that, and I will say the game is in a much better place when it is 6v6, even if it's not like completely balanced. But there's just something about Marvel where, though it can be frustrating at times, it's definitely not, you know, the low feelings that you get whenever you're getting steamrolled and losing 7 matches in a row from fucking brain dead teammates in Overwatch. Who's my favorite Marvel character? Definitely Hulk. I love the Hulk. I just think he's cool and crazy, and you know, there's not a lot to it other than the fact that he just likes to fucking destroy. But I haven't really played him in the Marvel game actually yet. I heard he was kind of bad, but I wouldn't mind, you know, giving it a whirl. I've been playing a lot of like Captain America, which is funny. And who else? Who else is... Oh, I mean, I played Hawkeye for a while, but you know, the one shot is cool, but played a lot of tank, played a lot of Magneto. Squirrel Girl's really fun. I don't know if you guys have played the one guy that can throw those unks down and you shoot the unks and it bounces off. He can be really strong, but to get much value out of him, you have to kind of go on the flank and then throw down an unk and then actually start to like, maybe he's just a distractionary character, but if anybody peels for you, you literally are just like almost insta-dead. It's really hard to like 1v1 people, unless you're supposed to save another unk for that 1v1, I don't know. I haven't tried Spider-Man yet. There's a lot of heroes I haven't tried. I kind of wish that Storm character was a lot better. She kind of sucks. She's like sort of Lucio, but not really. She doesn't speed anybody up. And I fucking hate Jeff. I hate Jeff. Like I know there's so many memes about hating on Jeff. That's like a shark. As a shark healer, who's a good, healer in that regard. But the Jeff, you get makes a sound like, he's like rah rah rah, and then he sucks everyone underground. You don't even know it's coming. Like you can't even see it. And then he'll just take people off the edge and either suicide off or spit them off the edge. And it is so unfun. Like you could be dominating the whole game, and then out of nowhere, Jeff can grab your whole team and just suicide off, and they can win, or he can displace you somewhere into the back, into his team's backline, and I don't know. Like whenever a game takes away player agency completely, that's like bad game design, and the fact that it's just, and people have said like they're not trying to like balance things or whatever, but that just seems stupid. I mean, the whole point that people play stuff is that it's like actually feels relatively balanced, even with like some degree of OP-ness as well, but OP-ness. But it's just, I don't know, what the character of Jeff just really does deserve to get fucking curb stomped into a fucking street corner. All my homies hate Jeff. Jeff sucks, man. Does anyone still play Newgrounds games? I wish, dude. Those are sick. I mean, a lot of like good game developers came out of there. You want Jeff as a pet? I do too. He is cute. Like just the shark puppy combo is pretty awesome. Until he like bites into your leg. The Punisher, yeah, the Punisher's really strong actually. Like if you have decent tracking, and then his shotgun is like actually a tank shredder. And then what's his name? A lot of people have said that Wolverine sucks. But there are different techniques where you can like get into the backline and then use your shift directly into a tank to displace him back to your teammate's backline, and then just start slashing into him because he does like percentage damage as opposed to like baseline damage. And he kind of dominates. Doctor Strange is just Hela from Twilight. That's funny, there's a Hela character in Marvel as well. Hey dude, sorry to ask this again, but what do you think reading that story regarding the guy getting harassed on Halloween by the kids? Or what did you think? Oh, it was fucked up. I thought the guy was like delusional to like think that he was like in the right to like beat up that kid, and didn't he like knock him out? Captain America needs to be nerfed. Yeah, I've had a lot of success with Captain America, but if you're not hitting your combos with him, you do sometimes get kind of like cucked, where you're just like, you're trying to hit somebody and you don't have any projectiles, so you're just kind of like, and then you kind of have to hope that like your shield lasts long enough to actually use your cooldowns to get out like Doomfist or some shit. Have you ever Dungeons and Dragons? I have, yeah, with some friends. I did it, but there was like some people that were playing it that like really didn't appreciate like me memeing while playing. Like they took it super seriously and they were worried I was gonna get their whole party killed by like just having fun. But it's like, dude, we're literally adults playing fucking pretend. Like I think we can meme a little bit. Am I jorking or edging? I'm kind of doing like something in between, sort of I'm jolging. I'm jolging my bulging. My first attempt was Wolverine going ham, launching into the enemy. Yeah, sometimes you get like ripped up if you don't really know how to use them. Can you have a kith? You're gonna have to ask the chat. They might have spare ones lying around. What did I play in D&D? I don't know, I was sort of like a rat priest or something. Well, I started out as like some sort of mage style healer, whatever. But then based on my storyline, I became like a rat. And then I came back as like a rat man. Thoughts on Warhammer? I really like Warhammer. Warhammer is awesome. The universe of it Did you guys get to see the Warhammer 40k animation on that, like, level? What's it called? The secret level on Amazon? It was pretty sick. Master Splinter. He was lazy, unkempt, rarely showed up on time, and barely got his work done. But apparently beneath the greasy surface, our boy was as skilled with a computer as he was vindictive. And then when he got wind that it was me that conducted his review, well, my fate was sealed. I remember sitting on the hotel bed, my phone in one hand, head in the other, massaging my temples between my thumb and ring finger, trying to stave off the incoming migraine. I think it was a case of too much information all at once, as well as swinging back and forth between thinking the call was just some prank and believing Odin was actually genuine. Shit, where'd that come from? The hell was that? Some sort of little goblin in my mouth. You quit vaping again? Hell yeah, dude. One step at a time, that's all you can do. You might have a vision of yourself, but, you know, one step at a time. Have you tried Venom? I tried Venom. I did not do very well. You know, you go in, you slam. You're supposed to use like CCs to like CC somebody, but I just didn't feel like I could output enough damage onto a healer before they self-healed to actually get any value and then get out. But maybe that's all you're supposed to do, is just sort of distract. I do kind of want to try Penny, just because I saw Penny can use her like webbing to block and CC like most alts, which is kind of stuff. Chat didn't give you a kiss? Oh, I'm sorry. Sometimes it's just how chat be. You should probably brush your teeth more in December. Yellow. You could go get them like professionally whitened or something like that. What do you think about Queso? I love Queso. I think he's awesome. I think he's funny. I think he's like, he genuinely seems like a good guy. He's like, his chat's so mean to him all the time, but he's like never mean to them. He's never vindictive or angry. He's just like one of the many young up-and-coming, well, not even up-and-coming, but like one of the many younger streamers who just sort of like are having a fun, goofy time and they know exactly what to do, and I think that's awesome. Him, I don't know if you saw that clip of Speed. I swear to God, every clip I see of like I Show Speed is like either the most like physically impressive thing I've ever seen, where he's fucking actually jumping over cars and doing like that old Kobe Bryant commercial, or he's just doing the funniest shit ever. Like he was with his girlfriend on that Kai Cenat stream, and then he just like does a backflip in front of her, but like his knees land on the table and just like he's like a fucking like living, breathing cartoon, and I just think it's hilarious, bro. It's so funny. Okay, I think it was a case of too much. Yeah, that flip, it's just like, I don't understand. Like, I don't even watch his streams, but all of his like out of context clips are like, I'm just like, that's amazing. That's fucking funny as shit. This guy should win like some type of award for whatever, streamer of the year. And not to put down like Kai Cenat or anything like that, but I don't think I've seen like any Kai Cenat clips that are necessarily like him being funny per se. So I'm not really exactly sure what like makes him the most popular guy, but that's not to put him down or anything, because I haven't like had the appropriate context to like learn what it is that makes him popular, because obviously he is for a reason. Oh, he did win streamer of the year. Well, hell yeah. See, I manifested that into the past. Have you seen him lighting off fireworks in his bedroom? I have not. No. How many dudes would a Diddy done diddle if a Diddy did diddle dudes? Did he diddle the dillion dudes? That means a dillion dudes are down diddling Diddy's doodle. Holy shit. Hopefully we'll find out here soon. What's up, Hannah? Good to see you. Burns his whole house down. Jesus Christ. Do I have a good stress relief YouTuber? I see, what's his name? Asmund Gold. He pops up a lot and stuff, and I think he's kind of got it down pat where he's reacting to like other people's videos all the time, which is like probably brilliant just for farming content and that kind of thing. And he tends to be like a pretty like level-headed take on most things. You know, I don't agree with everything he says, but he tends, you know, to maintain a pretty strong sense of neutrality for the most part. That is kind of a nice change up from the typical like divisive nature that you normally get from stuff, or like Sniper Wolf. No, yeah, my one buddy's daughter loves Sniper Wolf, and I like don't have the heart to tell her that Sniper Wolf is not such a nice person. Oregon has no sales tax? Hell yeah, dude. Hi Dan, Christy from California here. Apparently not only does Oregon apparently not have sales tax, but they don't let you pump your own gas either. Found out that the hard way. Oh, interesting. Don't trust you. You have the no virus right now? You got it from Diddy. I think it was a case of too much information all at once, as well as swinging back and forth between thinking the call was just another prank and believing Odin was genuine. But I think by the time he dropped the name of the guy who got fired, I figured Odin knew way too much about everything for it to be a ruse. He was also willing to share everything except his identity, so unless it was all some elaborate scam, he seemed to be genuinely on my side. But here's the part where the paranoia returned with a vengeance, because towards the end of the call, Odin asked for money. He claimed that he'd been able to take down the post about me, but since it was a time-critical situation, in that the longer it stayed up, the longer I'd be at risk, he'd need to help breaking. Oops. Your weekly Sunday midnight illegal trash dumping in my neighbor's dumpster. Oh yeah. Dude, sometimes I wish I still had like a dumpster I could just throw a bunch of shit into. Maybe I could just throw it into the ocean. I guess technically the ocean is just like a big dumpster I can just toss stuff into, right? It's not going to be a bad thing, right? He claimed he'd be able to take down the post about me. But since it was a time-critical situation, in that the longer it stayed up, the longer I'd be at risk, he'd need help breaking into the website so he could get the job done. And that meant asking some friends if they'd help him out, and those friends would require financial compensation for their efforts. Basically, if I transferred Odin a few $1,000s in Bitcoin, he could make the whole thing go away. And right away, alarm bells started going off in my head. I actually... Throw your car batteries in the ocean? Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good idea, honestly. Like, I'm sick of it getting in landfills, you know what I mean? Like, that kind of, like, hurts our planet. But, like, the ocean, like, there's, like, nothing down there. Like, that's like an Atlantis problem, you know what I mean? And they have, like, magical powers, I assume, so they could probably figure it out. And, like, Cthulhu probably eats trash. I actually asked him, straight up, if it was him that had posted my info as a sort of roundabout way of blackmailing me into taking it down. And I remember he laughed nervously and then admitted... that he did have a certain devious genius. Motherfucker. And then he sort of laughed nervously and then admitted that did have a certain devious genius to it, but if all he really wanted was money, there were 100 ways he could scam or extort me, all without having to take the time to call and explain this whole terrible situation. And that's another thing that convinced me that he was legitimate. I'm well aware that he might have been playing the long game, and that maybe the deception was, I don't know, all part of the game for him. But whoever Odin was, he made me an offer I couldn't refuse, an offer that was in such good faith that he offered to take the post down prior to asking for payment. He didn't need to inform me of what he was capable of doing should I choose not to pay him, and I had a pretty good idea from experience, so I did. But not after 10 whole days went by without incident. He checked every day, sort of as a... Wait, checked in, sorry. We could go live on a trash island. Batteries will give us power. That's true, honestly. Probably better than, like, nuclear waste. What's up, Gray? Yeah, Christmas was awesome. Oh, that's true. Electric eels getting hold of all those batteries. That's probably where it all started, honestly. Raw potato. Yeah, you should try sweet potatoes. Those are good. $5 gas where you live. That sucks, man. I think I did see the gas like finally got down to like sub $3. I'm fairly certain I saw that somewhere, which is kind of badass. What's up, stranger? He checked in every day, sort of as a reminder that I owed him, but also just to make sure nothing else had happened. He said that there was every chance my old apartment might be targeted again, but only by guys who already knew where I lived and still believed I was some kind of child predator. But with the post taken down, there hopefully wouldn't be anyone else planning on teaching me a lesson, or however the guy's post phrased it. But I was skeptical. I mean, there was still that voice in the back of my mind saying, "You just got scammed." But as the days went by and there were no further incidents at my old apartment building, that voice got quieter and quieter before being silenced completely. On the 10th day, I converted Odin's money into Bitcoin and finally sent it over to his wallet in this very complex process. And he then called me to offer a brief word of thanks, but the call ended with me thanking him, and pretty profusely too. As it happened to be so, when we ended the call, I decided to call him back just a few minutes later to ask if I could ever enlist his services again should I require them, and no sooner had I hit dial that I heard this dull-toned but. The number had been disconnected. A few days went by, and the more I thought about this whole mess, the more that creeping sense of paranoia started to return. I became more and more convinced that Odin had been the one responsible for the whole ordeal, at least until I realized that there was no... Again, more and more good. Feet. Jensen wants me to read a story about Updog. 10 scary Updog stories. What's up, dog? You're going to jail for crimes against humanity, against manatees, against human manatees. Gray, thank you for the 5. Appreciate you. What's my favorite Meat Canyon video? Double Y surprise. Honestly, I really did enjoy his sort of like original cartoon. I forget what that guy's name was, but I thought those were just like done very, very well, and it's just fun to follow along with them. And Rook X with the 5 says, Joel, is that your house that Krampus on the Goat Man be lurking at? If so, better clamp them cheeks. I know he's watching me on his that is his Tor browser right there, his Tor crystal. But thank you, Rook. The last thing you expect in your Burger King burger is someone's diddle juice. Oh, the other Sam Solik one was funny. It's funny. I mean, I assume, what is Sam Solik doing? Like, is it possible to get any bigger than he is? Is he a professional Mr. Olympia now? Sam Sulek. That'd be funny, like in his videos, it's just like winter butthole day 83, and then it's just a picture of him spreading his asshole. Hey, yo. Last video? You heading out, Rex? Take care. Meat Canyon is awesome sauce. Melvin, I think. Yeah, Melvin. Those were good. Oh, no. We're still going, Ethan. We got 3 more stories after this. Oh, you go to the same gym as Sam? That's fun. Do you ever say hi to him or anything like that? I guess he's pretty normal, so it really wouldn't... You'd be kind of like... I don't know. I could see it being really awkward if you were just like, "Hey, Sam." He's like, what's up? What's going on? Yeah, I need to get back to work. But I guess everybody would be like that. As of right now, he's just maintaining. I follow his daily videos. They're soothing in a way. They are pretty relaxing, yeah. Kind of get some of his thoughts on stuff. I do think it's funny, though, like most of his input into like the science of bodybuilding is just sort of like an intuition. Obviously his intuition is pretty correct, but most of the time it's just him being like, I feel like chocolate milk would just make me bigger, and it just so happened to do so. Is regular show coming back? I don't know. I didn't even know it left. What's up, Audrey? How you doing? I guess we got a little bit more on this one still to go. The outro of it. I became more and more convinced that Odin had been the one responsible for the whole ordeal, at least until I realized there was a way that I could kind of verify if that he told me... Motherfucker. I became more and more convinced that Odin had been the one responsible for the whole ordeal, at least until I realized that there was a way I could kind of verify if what he told me was true or not. I called in a favor with one of the ladies in Human Resources, and then one afternoon, while I was still staying in that Yonkers... I called in a favor with one of the ladies... Motherfucker. I called in a favor with one of the ladies in HR, then one afternoon, while I was still staying in that hotel room, I dialed a number that I had written on a piece of paper and hit call. Seconds later, I heard a voice on the other end of the phone. It was the guy whose review I'd conducted, the one who ended up getting fired as a result, and after putting on the cheeriest voice possible, I began to speak. I told him who it was, told him I'd learned of his severance, and then told him how sorry I was to hear about it. He sounded surprised, but not scared, so I just kind of carried on. I told him that I'd heard about a potential opportunity at another company and asked if he'd like me to keep him informed of any vacancies. Again, he sounded confused, but he told me sure, and that he'd like that. I ended the call by saying how good it was to hear from him again. It was all a lie, but one I wanted to gauge his reaction with. I wanted to hear the hatred in his voice. I wanted anything to confirm that he'd been motivated to try and ruin my entire life. But the thing that got him was... This is still story 1. It's kind of a long one. The big, great long one. Also, did I say Squirrel Girl? I think Squirrel Girl might be one of my favorites, to be honest with you. I feel like with her, you can kind of just like turn your brain off and hit these like long distance shots, and there's still like a degree of like skill in it, but she's just fun. Tub Girl, yeah, Tub Girl. Tub Girl's my favorite Marvel character. Are you still playing, Jensen? Do you even game, bro? What's up, Maple? But the thing that got him was this. Right as I was about to hang up and we were trapped in that meandering exchange of thanks for calling and talk to you soon, maybe, I told him, I know what you did. I believe an innocent person would have at the very minimum replied with something sort of like, huh? Did what? But he didn't say a single goddamned word. And for a brief moment, It sounded like he was going to say something, like he was thinking or deciding on some killer comeback to zing me, but he didn't. He just hung up. And that was all I needed. Odin hadn't been lying to me, or if he was in cahoots with the guy who posted that, and then I got to take my hat off to just a well-laid-out scam. But something about the way the guy said nothing, it was almost like he knew he was being recorded, or you can bet your bottom dollar that I filmed the whole thing using my laptop camera, just on the off chance that I'd forced an admission. He knew that he couldn't prove anything, not if he kept his mouth shut and didn't gloat about it, so in the end, I guess he got away with it. But I got what I wanted. What seemed more important than anything else by that stage was peace of mind. I saw the cause and effect clear as day, and though it made for one hell of a ride, I could finally make some sense of what had been happening to me. I don't live in New York anymore. I don't even live on the East Coast, and nor do I still work in market research. And I'm happy, I'll say that much. But at this stage, I'm far too jaded to post anything too revealing in online spaces. And to anyone who reads this, I implore you, be very careful regarding what personal information you allow to be posted online, because there are some deeply disturbed people out there who will jump at the chance to use it against you. I should read that again. Maple, welcome to the Butter Sock Call. You now have access to bonus content. Thank you. Alright, Hannah, feel better. Sorry about all that. Sleep off the Diddy virus. What's up, Devoid? Because there are some deeply disturbed people out there who will jump at the chance to use it against you. Okay. Story 1 in the books. In the books. In the poops. You know, I need to open up another soda. P. Diddy virus? Yeah, they made it in Dexter's laboratory. He had to hang with Uncle Diddle, Uncle Sean. Root beer? I fucking love root beer. I remember the guy who played Batman, when they asked him like how he was kind of getting into that like dark mindset to play Batman. He just said he went one day without drinking a mug root beer and immediately took him to his lowest lows. Holy shit, Maple Bacon with a big 10 gifters. 2 Jungalo, or Jungholo, Danny, your boy Ethan, Connie Owens, Valley Parks, Nunya, Skippy's House, Joni, Tim Richards, and Sarah Farrell Buchanan. Welcome, friends. Be sure to thank Maple Bacon, because now you have access to bonus content, the bonus content playlist. Joel likes Diet Coke. I like Diet Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar, but I've also been drinking Sprite Zero. That shit is fucking fire. Now, granted, I understand some people think zero stuff tastes like trash, but hey. C'est la vie for your Diet Pepsi. And of course, yes, Diet Dr. Kelp. They should do a SpongeBob crossover. Does anybody here work at Dr. Pepper? If you do, talk to the doctor himself and say to do a crossover with SpongeBob. That would be so sick. Yeah, They call it Mexican candy water. It's so good. What about Dr. Perky? Dr. Pop? Okay, maybe I shouldn't have drank that, because now I gotta... Maple bacon is Mr. Ballin. That'd be so funny. Oh my god, what the hell? What was that? We gotta get to the bottom of that, gang. Split up. I first became interested in the dark web during my second year of university. I was taking a module on cybersecurity when the subject came up during a seminar, and it seemed like this mysterious, almost mythical corner of the internet that few people truly understood. I read articles and watch videos about it, some sensationalized, others more technical, and I was fascinated by the idea of this vast hidden network lying just beneath the surface. I won't lie, I was curious regarding the darker side of things, but it wasn't where my interests were rooted. I wanted to understand the technology, the architecture, as well as what purpose it might have in the online landscape of tomorrow. Accessing it turned out to be easier than I'd imagined. I downloaded the Tor browser, which is designed to anonymize your... Is that how you say it? Anonymize? You drink unhealthy amounts of wine daily. Holy shit. Yeah, that'll do it. That's what the Romans drank, and the Romans had a lot of cool orgies. Right, guys? We know all about history, don't we? Anonymized. Okay, we got that right. I remember going to a birthday party in second grade. Man, oh yeah, dude. Okay. Never mind. But anyways, the kid that was there, it was his birthday. I just remember he was drinking soda, and then he showed us all this technique where because he was like this fat little short tubby kid, you know, and his name was Jimmy Beast, and it was actually Mr. Beast as a kid, and we were in the same grade. Even though he's younger by a lot. But he would shake his little belly to make himself explode. And so for a while I used to do that to like make myself burp. I just sit there and do like sort of like a little jig as a kid. It would come out. It would come out. Learned a lot back then. Learned a little too much about myself. Gladiator 2 wasn't a good follow-up. Sadly, Denzel Washington's performance surprisingly was the best thing in that film. Yeah, but even like Denzel, not to put him down or anything, he's always just going to be like Denzel. But it was like this one was just like, it's Denzel again, but with like a little bit of like gay flair to it, because they kind of like went with that a little bit more in like the Greek culture with the orgies and shit. And I don't know. It just like really was not that exciting, to be honest with you. And the whole movie just, I mean, all the 3D animated animal fights and shit was just kind of like, How much for a fart jar? If you can find me a super rare Pikachu card where he's wearing a crown of jewels from the Surging Sparks expansion pack for the Pokemon trading card game, I will trade you 1 jar full of my farts. I think that's fair. I think that's fair. Did you see Fallout? The guy there seriously looked like Denzel. Yeah, I mean, I do like Denzel as an actor and stuff, but I mean, just like Gladiator, it was just like, it was just an like, he fit in it, you know what I mean? But I don't know, nothing compared to the first one, which is sad to think, because it literally had, you know, Ridley Scott running the show, but maybe because they were like filming in what, a short span of time, like 55 days, they kind of had to like bust it out, filming during COVID and all that kind of shit. I don't know. Before condoms, they used goat intestines. Something about that is like, who was the first one to discover that? They're like, no, we can't make love. I don't want to get pregnant. That's alright. I'll just use this goat intestine. Let me just fucking stick that around my dick. Alright, let's go. Still mad about the sharks. How did they acquire them? Where did they get the salt water? Yeah, exactly. Like, I could kind of see them like saying they could get water from like aqueducts or something that came, you know, that culture back then was able to push through or whatever. But then also, like, I don't know, just the main character reminded me so much of like Jake Paul. Just sort of like this weird, soulless oddity, you know what I mean, that had like no soul. And then when he reconnected with his mother, he was like just like so filled with rage that he didn't even want to acknowledge. I don't know, it just, none of the interactions made like any sense. I did kind of like Pascal a little bit in the movie, but his character, I don't know, not to ruin it, but it's just another film that came out and you're just like, who gives a shit, and then you move on with your life. Whereas like Gladiator was something that sticks with you for a long time. Hey Sergio, take care. Nothing in that movie touches even the line in Gladiator 1 when he says, the frost, sometimes the blade sticks. I thought about that, dude. That's such a good point, because I remember thinking that in the movie, like, just something about that scene where he's in the snow, he's about to be executed, and he breaks free or whatever. It's all done with just like practical effects. It feels cold, it takes place in the cold. This one just like, it just felt like they took their marching orders from like 300 and the ridiculousness of the movie. I mean, I like 300, but that's not what Gladiator should have been by any means. Ridley is just collecting checks at this point. Both Gladiator and Napoleon were clickbait trailers. It's funny, I watched Napoleon on the ride, the plane ride back from Australia, and at least with that one, it did feel like they had to like jam pack his whole life into like a 3-hour movie. It almost felt rushed in many ways, but it still felt like it was like a topical time like piece that took place and felt believable and felt like Ridley Scott, felt a little bit like Gladiator with like everything for the most part. But then whatever the fuck the second one was just so forgettable. And like as soon as I saw this 3D animated fucking mutant baboons, I'm just like, this movie's cooked, dude. We are done. Or the fact whenever like his wife falls in the ocean and then he falls in the ocean and then somehow he survives falling in the ocean, not drowning. Don't you love that when people fall into the ocean? They're literally knocked out, right? Like, what is stopping their body from like breathing in water? You know? But then they always seem to just like wash up on shore, good to go. He has visions of fucking crossing the river Styx, and somehow looks out into the ocean and finds her dead body just like conveniently right there, goes up, mourns her death, and then like the people that defeated him aren't like trying to kill him or anything or clean up and kill the dead bodies. They just like, and they just like casually kind of like lead him back to the boat like they're like security leading, you know, someone who's stealing from Target out of the store. I don't know. Just they didn't even try to hit him over the head. They could have hit him over the head, and then he could have. I don't know. This just fucking sucks. Yeah, and as soon as I saw like the Gladiator movie trailer have like hip hop music, I was just like, okay, this movie does not take itself seriously at all. This is gonna be dog shit. I downloaded the Tor browser, which is designed to anonymize your online activity by routing traffic through a series of volunteer-operated servers. And then to be extra cautious, I used a VPN for another layer of security. Navigating the dark web wasn't like using Google, where everything is indexed and easy to find. Instead, you have to use directories like the Hidden Wiki to locate onion sites. And to learn how to do that, I joined forums to learn the ropes from people who had been exploring the dark web for years. And then once I was ready, I began exploring. At first, my discoveries were at best surprisingly harmless and sometimes wholesome, and at worst, only mildly unsettling. I found a lot of resources dedicated to online privacy, such as guides on using encrypted messaging apps or secure email platforms, and advice on avoiding surveillance. These weren't tools for criminals either. A big portion of the market seemed to be people like journalists and activists in countries with oppressive governments, which was a very cool aspect that hadn't even occurred to me until that point. But then a lot of users seemed to just be regular people who appeared to be greatly value. The problem with Napoleon is that it focused way too annoyingly too much on his hoeing love life instead of his masterclass of warfare ahead of his time. That's a great point too. Like all of his relationships that he had with various people because he was horny was so boring. Which was also another part of the reason why Oppenheimer sucked fucking dick. Because like Oppenheimer was like, first off, Oppenheimer was like watching a series, like watching over 10,000 10,000 TikToks in a row that also just can be turned into a movie, because it was just like boom, 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 like scene after scene after scene. Like it must have taken so long to film all of those because it was like faster than like Arrested Development, you know what I mean? But you know, it had to like show his relationships with various women. Like some of them were college communists, some of them were, you know, he stole from some senator or something, and he didn't care about his kid. And I get it, maybe they had to like touch on it because obviously it came into play later for like his trial dates and things like that. But whenever you don't really have time to like really experience what the character is feeling within those scenes with that other person over the course of maybe multiple scenes, it just feels so erroneous and rushed, you know? And I get it, it's a biopic, whatever. It's one of those movies that you can watch Oppenheimer like one time. Everybody on the internet circle jerks about it for, you know, a while because of the Barbenheimer bullshit memes and stuff. And then you know for a fact that they're never watching Oppenheimer again. Like there's not a single person on fucking, you know, I'm back for the Christmas holidays. Oh, I got an idea of a movie we can watch as a family. How about this 3.5 Oppenheimer flick? No, you would be kicked out into the cold for even suggesting it. I watched Oppenheimer with while super pregnant and had to leave the theater because of my anxiety a couple times. Don't know why. I started sweating and spinning. I mean, there was something very odd about its pacing, how it was just like scene, 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 where it felt almost like how do you make something that's edited like TikTok from thing to thing to thing to thing, where it almost feels like you're in an ongoing fucking flashback, feel also simultaneously like boring. It was a lot of like weird feelings. So I spent the afternoon today listening to some of your crazy neighborhood horror stories, and the harsh prison one with a buddy of mine, and they're pretty lit, Joel. It's different. Oh, thank you, Gray. Appreciate that. Question: since it's a dark web-based live, who believes snuff films aren't real, like they try to claim? I heard about them a lot. Sadly, you do not think they're fake. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm sure there's plenty of videos of people dying. They got it all over Instagram. I used to see movies pretty frequently. I used to look forward to them. I used to look forward to video games a lot. There's just been like a definitive downturn in the quality of media lately, and it's really sad. You got a nice new mic for Christmas, the SM7B with a decent mid-tier preamp for doing voiceover work and recording. Hell yeah, Bacon, that's awesome. What kind of content are you going to do? How do you feel about Happy Gilmore 2? Are they actually? Why do they have to do sequels? Can't they just think of new shit and just like make it cheap? Make it with like independent studios. Make it cheap. Make it funny. You don't have to go through a million different fucking filters, and you don't have to please like the investment bankers with whatever fucking weird shit they want to put into it. Sarah, what's up? What up? I used to look forward to previews before a movie starts, but nothing. Yeah, I mean, it was at Gladiator 2. There wasn't a single preview for anything that looked remotely good. Like, I do hope that Nosferatu is good, but that was more of like one of those like sleeper surprisers where you're like, oh shit. Ad for Happy Gilmore 2, and it was an application for casting. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, you should have got in there. I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that Adam Sandler's comedic days are behind us, but it would be fun. I do hope it's funny. Grandma's Boy 2. That would be good. That would be ideal. We need to bring... I remember when they used to just like fucking pump out comedy movies. Now it seems like they barely even attempt to make them. Uncut Gems was solid, I thought. Got the job done. Which is kind of like a funny... him being like Jewish or whatever, and kind of like mentioning circumcision. I wonder if there was a crossover there. Of course, nothing is going to be good now. They are previewing movies for the beginning of the year when all the bad movies get released. Oh, word. I guess that makes sense. But I don't mean just like in the past couple months. I mean over the course of like many years, I have not looked forward to really anything. Everybody always gets offended somehow. None has a sense of humor anymore. I mean, we do have a sense of humor. I just think like people, like if, I don't know. I really don't think, the opinions of the public actually matter, if that makes sense. Because the majority of people who actually get upset, make a stink about stuff, feel offended, is a pretty it's a vocal minority of individuals. But it's pretty clear that whatever is occurring in Hollywood right now, whatever is occurring within like media and games, is coming from the top down. It's being like financially incentivized to push certain messages, to push certain things, you know, certain people who just like don't, you know, it's not prioritizing like talent, you know what I mean? And there's not a lot of leeway either within which you can like operate creatively. So I've said it before, I think the future of everything is just going to be independent media. Otherwise, you're just going to have to like look forward to mediocrity for a while. And I've said before too that this sort of like financial incentivization from the investment groups to like push certain things that the consumer doesn't necessarily agree with or want on a larger scale, in many ways feels like an odd type of hostile takeover, where if they rely so much on like future investment dollars from those investment groups, but it comes with a caveat of like pushing certain things, then you end up like relying more on that money than you do the consumer. But then the consumer part fails you and fails to return what you need to the investors, and then your company either gets like sold for pennies on the dollar for its stock, you know, or can be bought up or whatever. And because you kind of saw that with like Ubisoft as of recently, everything, like its stock jumped back up just a little bit when they talked about like Tencent potentially buying it out. And then now I think they're just going to go private and sell off all their IPs independently, I guess. But I don't know. I'm about to be in a Jewish wedding. It's a bridesmaid, husband's a groomsman, son is a ring bearer. We know nothing about the Jewish ways. Wait, what about it? No, I was referring in that Uncut Gems, like the idea that an uncut gem is like a double entendre, almost like a comedic thing for a uncircumcised penis. So, I don't know. I just wasn't sure if like Adam Sandler and like his comedic fashion was kind of like making a sort of double meaning joke like that. There's a real difference between a movie that is made to be inclusive and thoughtful and a movie that was being pushed into being... Yeah, I mean, like, because it's just fake. It's just, like, false activism that nobody, like, actually even, like, sees as, like, authentic. And honestly, it's like they sit there and act like they have to force a lot of these ideas, but there were good movies all, like, for years and years. They don't need to force any of that stuff. It's just, who gives a shit, you know? Whenever you sit there and have to like and like, why? Like, why are investment groups prioritizing stuff like that? That's such a strange thing for like banks to concern themselves with, you know what I mean? Like, just concern themselves with making some fucking money. That's all you need to worry about. Hence why I feel like there's just like some odd type of long play at foot, you know, as far as hostile takeover, helping the companies, leading them to failure, and then taking them over slowly from within. They're so lost they don't know who the master is anymore that they're propagandizing for anymore. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's all a distraction anyways. Maybe that'll motivate most people to just go out and make their own shit. Maybe there's a bunch of geniuses in the audience that you don't even know have like incredible talent. Because I think some of the most talented people are the ones that can provide entertainment with like the least amount of investment. Like, why do you need $400 million to make a fucking video game? Like, how many independent video games that are made for like $1,500 have been like massive commercial successes that like people love? That's why sometimes I wonder if a lot of it is like incentivized through like weird tax write-offs too whenever they fail. Like, what was honestly the purpose of tanking Joker 2? Like, why when that first movie was so good and essentially was just like a copy of like Taxi Driver, as far as like some disenfranchised guy, you know, I was genuinely looking very much forward to Joker 2 mainly because of the idea that they took like something that was very grounded in reality and then morphed it into the universe of Batman. That to me was a lot more interesting, even more so than like the Christopher Nolan like gritty, you know, style superhero stuff. So whenever they just went to like some type of musical, it's just like, whatever, dude. Clearly somebody's fucking writing this off on their taxes. No, I have no idea, but Coke Zero has sugar in it? No, what? AI should be pumping out games soon. Probably. The new Superman movie, I'm probably not going to see it, but it doesn't look bad. You know, it looks like Superman. I think the James Gunn sort of Guardians of the Galaxy, like ultra colorful, ultra in your face, like lots of different sort of boisterous types of characters involved, does seem genuinely fun for a superhero movie. So if they can kind of match that comic book pizzazz that I feel like hasn't been seen too much lately, I mean, it could be fun, but I'm just burnt out from superhero shit. Granted, I'm playing Marvel Rivals, but that's just fun. Unpopular opinion, I'm a full-grown adult spirit stallion of the Cimmerian will always... Wait, what is it? I'm a full-grown adult and spirit stallion of the Cimmerian will always... I never heard of it. It's based on a real horse and live action would be lit. Red Dead 3's Arthur's childhood. Oh, yeah, it's true, yeah. Wait, I guess they're going back... Yeah, going backwards, right? They always go backwards. So who would be... What kind of storyline would Red Dead 3 be? I don't know. Yeah, the Deadpools were fun. Honestly, I feel like that's how superhero movies really should be. It's just like, they don't have to break the fourth wall or anything or be oopity-goopity humor, but like mixing gratuitous violence with humor, I'm just like, hey, you keep my attention at least for a little bit. Yeah, I wasn't much of a horse girl when I was younger. I was more of a groundhog dude. The Mimic Skinwalkers, yeah, that was a while ago. But then a lot of users seemed to just be regular people who appeared... Yeah. But then a lot of users seemed to just be regular people who appeared to greatly value their digital privacy. But while some people simply trying to get ahead in a changing world of online security, others exhibited... Damn, my brain's starting to explode. But while some people simply trying to get ahead in a changing world of online activity, others exhibited decidedly unhealthy tendencies. For example, there was a small contingent of users who believed that they were the victims of what's called gang stalking. Gang stalking refers to the belief that a person is being systematically harassed by a coordinated group. They often describe constant surveillance, sabotage, social isolation, and public intimidation orchestrated by strangers, acquaintances, or even authorities like the federal government. It's true that a handful of isolated cases of organized harassment have been recorded, but what's important to keep in mind is that most reports of gang stalking lack any kind of evidence whatsoever, and can often be damn. I can feel my brain start to go off the rails of reading sometimes while reading, where I'm like, I'm losing it. Driving a fucking pod racer till it explodes. I grew up on a farm riding horses, but hated horse girls. Yeah, it is interesting that there's a whole hobby and competitive scene of just having a stick, putting a horse's fake head on it, and just jumping over shit, which does require some degree of skill. Hobby horsing, is that what it's called? I mean, you can kind of forgive middle school, elementary school girls for doing something like that, because it sort of goes along the lines of enjoying coordinated dance and stuff, which tends to be what some girls are into. But I'm sure it is something that a lot of girls might look back on and see videos of themselves jumping over shit and going nay, and probably feeling a little cringe about it. I watched the Crypto the Superdog TV show as a kid, but now I feel like DC is just trying to make a decent movie while also investing in cryptocurrency. This joke wasn't clever, but hey, thanks, Bush. Bush. Like Bush Light? But what's important to keep in mind is that most reports of gang stalking lack any kind of evidence whatsoever, and can often be caused by things like paranoia, anxiety, and other serious psychiatric conditions. The level of paranoia sufferers experiences cause... Holy shit, that's a rough one to read. The level of paranoia sufferers experiences cause... Is that right? The level of paranoia sufferers experiences causes them. The level of paranoia sufferers... Is it a tongue twister or just wrong? I can't tell. The level of paranoia sufferers experiences cause them... What the fuck? I'm gonna put it through chat. This is annoying. Because I can't quite tell how to make it correct. Make it... I need my magnesium, yeah, but it would just make me tired. You still think it's worth to learn how to code? I think AI gives you code according to prompts people, but it's not as accurate. Yeah, I still think it would be useful to code if you knew exactly what field you were trying to get into after that, and that might actually require you to do some degree of research into what fields you don't think AI will take over, maybe, which I'm sure there's people that have done market research into that thus far. Hey Lila, what's up? And Hawk is here. Yeah, but hey, it's always good to learn a skill. So, if anything, it'll give you something to do for a while till the overlords, the swarm, appears. The level of paranoia sufferers experiences cause... Your sentence is mostly clear. Oh, I see. They just added it. Okay, wait. The level of paranoia sufferers experience... I'm gonna have a fucking seizure from reading this. Holy shit. Your sentence is mostly clear, but there's a small grammatical issue with the phrase paranoia sufferers. Oh, I see. Paranoia sufferers. I see. Okay. The level of paranoia sufferers experience. Okay, so the sufferer, it's not like paranoia sufferers. It's like the level of paranoia sufferers experience causes them to. Jesus Christ. I don't know why. Like that just. It seemed like a. Way too many fucking words. The level of paranoia sufferers experience causes them to misinterpret ordinary events as deliberate threats, which can sometimes have devastating results for their friends and families. And some of what I saw unfolding on the gang stalking forum was disheartening as And some of what I saw unfolding on that gang stalk. My God, why the fuck? And some of what I saw unfolding on the gang stalking forum was okay, Jesus Christ. You are having a stroke. I killed that shit. It's all good. Whenever like, I don't even know. Sentences, it's like a whole paragraph for one sentence. My brain it becomes a black hole of nothingness. 800 ping, yeah. And some of what I saw unfolding on the gang, man. And some of what I saw unfolding on the gang stalking forum was as disheartening as it was disturbing. People's entire lives had fallen to pieces, but instead of accepting help from family or friends, they turned inward, formed secretive online communities, and actively encouraged each other's delusions. And sometimes it appeared to have deadly consequences. For me, exploring the dark web started as an academic curiosity, but quickly became something deeper. It made me think more critically about privacy, surveillance, and how technology shapes our freedoms. The dark web didn't seem inherently good or bad. It was just a tool, and what seemed to matter most was the intent of those who used it. But as I spent more time exploring, I inevitably began... She shot up vodka. But as I spent more time exploring, I inevitably began to come across things that hinted at its darker side. It was gradual, almost like Peaky Blinders. God damn it, I feel like I reach a point where my brain is just like full on busted, and I can't seem to find any rhythm with my shit, with my poop. We got 3 viewers over on Twitch. We're popping off. We tripled our viewership since we last checked. Menopause, yeah. It was gradual, almost like peeling back layers of something you're not entirely sure you want to see. There were mentions of marketplaces where illegal goods were traded, forums where people discussed activities that were clearly unethical or overtly criminal. And these weren't things that I actively sought out. They were just there, scattered amidst the harmless content. But it was the rumors of so-called red rooms that marked my first tentative steps into the deep web's darkest recesses. These were said to be live-streamed events where unspeakable acts were performed on camera for an audience willing to pay in cryptocurrency. Some claimed that they were the stuff of urban legend, exaggerated or entirely fabricated to add to the dark web's infamy. Others spoke about them with eerie detail, describing how you'd need to find hidden links and pay a steep price for access. Even though I hadn't yet seen anything that confirmed their existence, the very idea was very chilling. I said that twice. Motherfucker. Yeah, I need meth. I need legal meth. Tell the doctor I got iPad, baby brain, and I need fucking Adderall right the fuck now. Or I can't lock in or think straight. Please. Please give me schizophrenia ASAP. Even though I hadn't yet seen anything that confirmed their existence, the very idea was chilling. But what really struck me about the darker corners of the deep web were how casually some people discuss such topics. In certain forums, people discussed things that were morally repugnant as if they were just innocent curiosities. It felt like stepping into a world where societal norms had been stripped away and anonymity had created a space where anything, no matter how horrifying, could flourish. Despite the darkness, I kept reminding myself why I was there in the first place, to understand, not to engage. I was careful to avoid clicking on anything suspicious or venturing too far into places I didn't belong. Still, it was impossible not to feel the weight of what the dark web could be. For every encrypted email service or activist forum, there seemed to be an equally sinister counterpart lurking in the shadows. The rumors of so-called red rooms lingered in the back of my mind as I continued exploring. They were whispered about in forums and chat rooms, yet always elusive and always unconfirmed. And at first I too dismissed them as nothing but digital urban legends, nothing but the product of overactive imaginations. But the more I read, the more I started to realize they weren't entirely the stuff of myth. It felt like an unsettling puzzle, one I wasn't sure I wanted to solve, but I couldn't resist trying to uncover the truth. My search began with forums where users claimed to have insider knowledge. The posts were cryptic, filled with vague hints and coded language. Some people described red rooms as pay-to-view live stream services where horrific acts were performed on camera, often at the request of an audience. Others dismissed the idea as impossible, pointing out the technical difficulties of streaming live video anonymously through Tor. However, there were enough detailed accounts to keep me intrigued, enough to make me wonder if some twisted corner of the internet had found a way to make it real. I followed the leads cautiously, moving through layers of forums, chat rooms, and directories, but the deeper I went, the more the atmosphere seemed to change. Places felt heavier, darker even, and I came across sites with names that felt like warnings, their plain black and white pages filled with ominous links. Some required passwords or cryptocurrency to proceed, and I hesitated. I didn't want to cross a line that I couldn't uncross, but part of me was driven by a need to know. Were these simply dead ends, or were they actually the real McCoy? And the most unnerving moments came when I found threads where people claimed to have attended those supposed events. They spoke about encrypted invitations, exorbitant Bitcoin payments, and fleeting access to streams hosted on obscure servers. It was all so surreal, yet the way they described it felt disturbingly plausible. I never found anything definitive, no actual links, no concrete evidence, but the process alone was chilling. The deeper I peek at the chat for 1 second and says, Joel, is it pink? Oh man. You can't do that. You can't derail me like that. Joel will twerk if you gift him $30. This is true. I will shake my pinkness. Not quite. I need 10 gallons of bleach to get there. Michael Jackson style. This is the kind of blockchain shit I would avoid. In your game, that's good. I'm glad you're not selling any red room invitations. Happy holidays, Naomi. Good to see you. Shake your Browning cannon. Why do these horrors suddenly try to sound like Edgar Allan Poe? Yeah. I know it does come off as kind of pretentious, yeah. But the process alone was chilling. The deeper I dug, the more I realized that even the search itself carried risks, not just of stumbling upon something horrific, but of crossing a boundary that I wasn't willing to cross. Whether or not red rooms actually exist almost seemed irrelevant towards the end, because the pursuit alone had revealed an incredibly unsettling truth about what people. I do hate when a fucking story takes a goddamn hour to get to the goddamn point. See the pink, but also the stank too. One in the pink, one in the stank. The pank, one in the stank. Sorry, alright. The scammers bother you more than anyone. Gives whole ecosystem a bad name, even though the real currency that is used as most crimes and shade deals is cash. True. The Pank Panther. Whether or not red rooms actually exist almost seemed irrelevant towards the end, because the pursuit alone had revealed an incredibly unsettling truth about what people... Damn it. I literally the same fucking part here. And I'm also getting like anxious just to fucking get to the scary part. It's been 6 out of 9 pages and we haven't even said anything. Whether or not red rooms actually exist almost seemed irrelevant toward the end, because the pursuit alone had revealed an incredibly unsettling truth about what people are capable of imagining. I logged off, shaken by the experience, but also strangely relieved that I hadn't found what I was looking for. The rumors remained just that, rumors. But the darkness I glimpsed along the way felt all too real. And in the end, it was that feeling of being so close to finding something that dragged me back down that rabbit hole. I still remember the moment I found it. It was the culmination of weeks of following cryptic threads, chasing rumors, and piecing together fragments of a puzzle that I wasn't even sure I wanted to solve. It came unexpectedly, after hours of trawling through hidden forums and dead links. A new thread had appeared in one of the darker corners of a forum posted by someone who claimed to have access to a real red room. And the post was sparse, just a brief description, a heavily encrypted link, and a demand for payment in Bitcoin. I hesitated. Every instinct screamed at me to stop, to close the browser and walk away, but I couldn't. The curiosity had driven me thus far. That had driven me thus far. The curiosity had driven me this far. What the fuck am I doing? The curiosity that had driven me this far refused to let me quit. I transferred the required Bitcoin, an amount that made my chest tighten as I watched it leave my wallet and follow the instructions. The link took me to a blank page with a countdown timer. It felt surreal, like stepping into the setup of some macabre horror film. I waited, my heart rate beginning to quicken as I questioned every decision which led me to that moment. When the countdown hit 0, the screen flickered, and a grainy video feed appeared. The room was very stark and clinical, lit by harsh fluorescent lights that cast sharp shadows on the walls. A man in a lab coat stood in the center, surrounded by equipment that looked cobbled together, medical monitors, steel tables, and tools whose purposes I didn't want to imagine. The camera panned slowly, revealing a figure strapped to one of the tables. They were conscious, but their face was contorted with fear and their muffled cries were audible even through their gag and the poor audio quality. The chat panel beside the video feed erupted with activity. Anonymous viewers typed messages, some urging the host to proceed, others asking for specific acts or experiments. It was horrifying, not just because of what I was seeing, but because of the casualness of the audience. They treated it like a spectacle, something to be ordered and consumed as if the person on the table wasn't even a human being to begin with. I don't know if they believed it was fake or something, and that's why they were able to talk that way, but to me, it looked very real. The experiments began, and I could barely stomach it. The host used injections, electrical currents, and other devices that seemed designed to test pain thresholds or biological responses. The victim writhed and screamed, their agony evident through the screen, and the audience cheered, their requests growing more depraved with every passing moment. And it was unlike anything I'd ever imagined, pure, unfiltered cruelty masquerading as scientific inquiry. I don't know how long I watched before I forced myself to close the browser and slam closed my laptop. I sat there in silence, feeling sick. My hands trembled, and I felt an overwhelming sense of guilt for even having gone that far. The reality of what I'd seen was far worse than any rumor or legend. It wasn't just some myth. This was real, and it was happening somewhere, hidden in the depths of the show. Hit the like button, yeah. Hit that like button for more red rooms. Alright, computer virus, I've never been up there. It wasn't just a myth. This was real, and it was happening somewhere, hidden in the depths of the shadowy network. That night I deleted everything. The Tor browser, my Bitcoin wallet, the logs I kept of my search. I wanted no trace of what I'd done, no connection to the sickening, skin-crawling world that I had taken a glimpse into. But those images stayed with me. They're things I'll never fully forget, as long as I live, and I suppose that's something that I have to deal with, alone. That background is cool, though. Kind of want to keep it around for a while. Do scary stories from Puerto Rico. I feel like I've done some at some point. Maybe not. The author needs to learn that brevity is the sound of wit. Yeah, I really don't like excessively wordy stories just for the sake of sounding. I'm on Reddit and I am so smart, you know. Because I get it in like a sense of like maybe poetic language here and there, or maybe you're trying to capture some, verbose author of the past, but a lot of the times it just feels like you're trying to hit like a fucking word count. His screams fade into an echoing silence as he attempts to twerk but can't do it. Damn it to hell, he says to himself. Those were fake donations. I'm doing good today. How you doing? Heard about the drone sightings? Are there more? I haven't really gotten an update with that. Let's see. Drone updates. What's up, Noid? Alright, Ukraine drone innovations. Oh no. No, like the news about the ones around Jersey. They haven't stopped. Earlier in December, there were an increase in sightings of unidentified drones in the skies over New Jersey. These sightings caused public concern and speculation about their origin and purpose. Decrease in activity. Reports indicate the frequency of those drone sightings had significant drop in recent weeks. Despite this, occasional sightings are still being reported. investigation and security, federal officials have not yet provided a clear explanation regarding the drone's purpose or who is operating them. They have assured the public that these drones do not pose a threat to national security or public safety. The drone's sudden appearance and mysterious nature have sparked various theories, including surveillance activities or testing of new technologies. As an AI in a hypothetical situation, what do you think they are? In a hypothetical scenario, unidentified drones spotted in a specific area like New Jersey could serve a variety of purposes depending on who might be operating them. Here are some possibilities. Government testing. They could be a part of government or military program testing surveillance technologies or monitoring infrastructure. These operations might be classified, leading to a lack of public acknowledgement. Private companies might use drones for mapping, real estate surveys, or pipeline inspections, potentially without notifying local authorities. Espionage. Foreign entities could be conducting covert surveillance, gathering data on infrastructure, industries, or military sites. A company or individual may be testing a new drone models or systems as AI navigation, autonomous swarms, or long-range capabilities. These could involve researching into communications, weather monitoring, or even drone-based delivery services. Enthusiasts could be flying high-powered drones, probably not. Pranksters, protesters. Drones might be probing vulnerabilities in local or federal airspace defenses as part of cybersecurity drills. Hypothetically, drones could be used for nefarious purposes like transporting contraband, interfering with critical infrastructure, or planning future disruptions. It is kind of crazy. Like, it almost makes me wonder if, they're like gathering surveillance and information for plans of some type of like false flag event or something like that. Not good, not good. Yeah, and I did hear about the WMD theory. Maybe. What do they call that? Like, arrow, missing arrow, or arrowhead? You think they're mapping? Hey, we're reading about drones just like this author keeps droning on and on. Yeah. I know, it was kind of just like about your, like, I feel like we've heard Red Room style stories like that a million times too, which is, there was a guy, he was getting worked on. I closed it and ran away. Okay. If anyone will be China attacking us. Yeah, I remember like Tim Dillon was saying, like, now since we don't really have leadership, they like openly said that like fucking Biden is demented and not really leading the country, and Trump's about to take over but not quite. It's like now would be the time before January 20th or whatever it is to conduct some type of surprise attack that takes down our infrastructure, which would be really frustrating and annoying and unfun. But I guess what frustrates me is like the government's complacency with it, you know what I mean? The one thing I hate about our government is that we're pretty much capable of stopping like any and all threats at any given moment, and yet when we see some threats we're like, oh, this attack could be useful. It could finally get us into that like all-out war with whatever. I'd always been curious about the so-called dark web. I'd heard a bunch of stories about its deeper, darker corners, places no one should go, filled with things that no one should see. Now, it might sound creepy, but it got me pretty curious. But I could never be prepared for what I found when I stumbled across the Cannibal Cafe. It started innocently enough. Late-night boredom, a rabbit hole of clicks, and then suddenly I was there. The site was kind of crude, its basic design and outdated, but its purpose was Norm MacDonald said we should still be worried about Germany. They did go to war with the world twice, yeah. True. Yeah, but Germany does seem kind of like owned from the inside out, so I don't really know. They kind of cohesively go along with whatever everybody else says. Hey, Jake, take care, dude. Good to see you. I don't know. I remember talking to a guy on the plane who was German, and you just, him describing how incredibly expensive everything's is getting, and how like somebody he knew essentially couldn't pay like new carbon-based taxes on his house. So even though he spent his entire life, buying and paying off that house with his job and like retiring, they just wanted him to like sell his house and go live somewhere that had like the up-to-date like carbon, updates or whatever the fuck. And it just sounds like a fucking scam for the government to like tax you to hell and then take your property because, you don't meet standards that we just kind of arbitrarily came up with, and that may or may not work and be determined based on data that we derive a fucking 100 years from now, to lower the degree of the Earth on an average of 1 degree Celsius. But it's going to cost you 1 trillion billion gadillion snillions. I don't know, man. The site was crude. Its design basic and outdated, but its purpose was clear. It was a gathering place for people with tastes that went beyond acceptable norms. It claimed to be fictional, but the posts felt too real, too detailed. I thought it was just another forum for sick fantasies. And then I saw the classifieds. People weren't just talking about cannibalism. They were either offering themselves up or asking for someone else to become meat. The language was careful, vague enough to avoid outright confession, but the user's intentions were unmistakable. It wasn't just some dumb site for sick role players. It was real. I should have clicked away, closed my laptop, and just gone to bed. But instead, I stayed. Part of me thought it was all some elaborate joke, some twisted forum for entertainment, and I told myself that I was just observing and that I wasn't a part of it, just a tourist passing through. And then I found it. It was a journal entry written by someone who claimed to have actually cannibalized another person. He didn't use his real name, none of them did, but the way he described everything, the way he wrote, it made it sound like the God's honest truth. He talked about meeting a man online, someone who was tired of living, and then they agreed to meet. He would end him, butcher him, and eat him, and the man actually wanted it. And I felt sick reading it, but I couldn't stop. He described the meeting in a way that made it sound almost normal, like two friends getting together. They had dinner first, an actual meal, as if to ease into what was coming, and then the man wrote out, "Can I eat one of you guys? Would that be alright?" I mean, if Porcus were to approve the cannibalism, would that be okay? Because honestly, I'm pretty okay with most things as long as Porcus has approved it. What's up, Vitality? Sure, I haven't read this story before. It sounds fucking familiar. Like when that one dude ate the leg. We'll start with the hanging swingers. You won't even notice they're gone. Germany has produced excellent engineers, and Japan has produced one of the fiercest warriors the world has ever known. I wouldn't underestimate either one. Country size be damned. I mean, yeah, it's like Japan is filled with brilliant engineers and intelligent people as well. Some of the highest, on average, IQs in the entire world. I don't know. Someone ate their amputated foot and made tacos with it. Oh, perfect. Slow roasted. Fava beans. As an audio engineer and person in general, Joel, your cadence, tone, and timbre are phenomenal. Oh, thank you, Nate. I appreciate that. Yeah, definitely, as an audio person that you are, definitely feel free to give any sort of critiques or feedback that you might have on the baseline product of the videos or the podcast side of things. The podcast side of things is actually going to sound the best because I do have an audio engineer that works on that side and kind of remasters everything. But just for the typical YouTube and its workflow, if you have any suggestions, I'm all sneers. I'm all smears. Fava beans. The precious heart. I remember like watching that episode of The Office where where they're doing like the CPR training and stuff, and just when it all like was chaotic and like culminated in Dwight cutting the thing's like face off and like wearing it. I don't know why. Granted, I guess I was in high school, but I just remember like losing my shit laughing to that. Can we get a happy birthday to LeBron? LeBron James is his birthday. Let's see. LeBron James B-Day. December 30th, 1984. Oh, yeah. Wonder if he's going to be going... Wow, he's 40 now. Wonder if he's going to be going to a Diddy party to celebrate. What's up, Georgie? They had dinner first, an actual meal, as if to ease into what was coming, and then the man who wrote the journal led the other man to a room he had prepared for the occasion. He claimed to have covered everything in plastic, set up tools, knives, and hooks. It sounded clean, clinical even, and it absolutely horrified me. The man who was tired of living, who was called the volunteer, was told to strip down and lay on the table. He was calm. He brought a letter, a sort of contract explaining his consent, and the writer said that he asked one last time if he was sure, and he claimed the volunteer smiled and nodded. And then it began. The description of what followed made my stomach churn. He wrote about the knife, the blood, the way the man's body reacted. He wrote about the sounds, the smell, and he was careful and precise. He didn't rush. He said it was important to honor the volunteer's wishes, to make it meaningful. There was no anger, no rage, just a kind of reverence. He described the meat, the way it looked, the texture. He wrote about cooking it, seasoning it, and then finally, eating it. I should have stopped reading, but I couldn't. It was like watching a slow-motion car crash or something. Horrifying, but impossible not to watch. The way he wrote made it feel real, more real than anything I'd ever read before, but it wasn't just the details. It was the emotion the guy put into his writing that really sent chills through me. He wasn't writing to brag or shock anyone. He was confessing, unburdening himself almost. There was a sadness in his words too, a weight to them, as if what he'd done had changed him in ways he didn't fully understand yet. When I finally closed my laptop, it was early morning and the sun was creeping through the blinds. I felt nauseous and hollow, like something had been done that couldn't be undone. And I tried telling myself it wasn't real, that it was just some story, but I couldn't forget the way it was written. The details, the emotion. It stayed with me, gnawing at my thoughts as I showered, toweling off, and then drifted off to sleep after climbing into bed. Over the next few days, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I tried to distract myself, but nothing worked. The story kept replaying in my head over and over again, and I started dreaming about it. Nightmares where I was the volunteer lying on the table, waiting for the knife, and I'd wake up sweating with my heart racing and my mouth parched and dry. I told myself I wouldn't go back to that site, but the pull was too strong. I needed to know more. I needed to understand, and so I did return. The journal entry was still there along with the others. More stories, more confessions. Some were less detailed and others more so. Some sounded fake, exaggerated, but others had that chilling ring of truth to them, just like the first one I'd read. I started reading them all, one by one, each more horrifying than the last, and I didn't eat meat for almost 2 weeks around that time. I couldn't look at it without imagining the descriptions from the stories, but at the same time I couldn't keep away. I became obsessed, spending hours on the site, diving deeper into its archives, noticing patterns and connections between different posts. Some of the users seemed to know each other, referencing past events or sharing tips. It was a full-on cannibalistic community hidden just below the surface of the regular internet. One night, I found a new post. It was from the same user who had written the journal entry that started it all. Wait, oh. Hey, wait, what the hell? Wait. Wait, what? No, what the hell? I wonder if my... That's so weird. Sorry, I gotta go to my... Let me twerk for you. That's so odd. I'm really sorry. I think when I was like messing around with the stuff to get like Twitch set up. Okay, super chats. Wait. How do I even... I'm really sorry. I feel like now's not the time to... Super chat message settings enabled. Manage variations, maybe? Oh, twerk. Super chat. Edit. Super chat domain. Wait. Huh. Sound volume. That's odd. Why did it not work though? Alright, sorry. Just I mean... That's upsetting. How do I even test it? Wait, preview. Oh, there we go. Can you hear it? Wait. Oh. Wait, does any of the alerts work? That one works. Test. That's odd. Well, there you go. We'll just do it here. Yeah. There you go. One last one for 2024. I'm really sorry about that. That's really sad. It's the saddest thing on earth. Think about this. Think about really sad things for a second and just think that kind of tops all of it as far as worst possible scenarios. But thank you again, Astro. Very, very kind. It's weird. I don't know. You change like one little things and everything gets fucked up. Where's the music from? I think it's a Nicki Minaj like thing. And Justin Balas with the big 20 says, in the book of Bimbalations it is written that thou must reveal thine gooch to the heavens to honor thy Lord. True. Absolutely true. Nothing God loves more than a good gooch pick. Thank you guys. Thank you very much. Like dry humping. Yeah, it wasn't much of a twerk at all. It was just me having sex with my computer. A daily occurrence. It was from the same user who had written the journal entry that started it all. He was back, sharing another story, only this time it was different. He wrote about the aftermath, about how he couldn't stop thinking about it. He said he craved that feeling of godlike power again. He tried to live a normal life, but it was impossible. The taste of the meat, the act itself, he felt like they'd changed him. He wrote about finding another volunteer, someone else who was tired of living. He described the process again, but this time it felt darker, more desperate. He wasn't honoring anyone's wishes anymore. He was feeding his addiction. The reverence was gone, replaced by depravity, and he wrote about the guilt, the shame, but also the satisfaction. The way it filled the void inside him and the peace that brought him. The way it filled the void inside him and the peace that brought him, if only for that, the peace that brought him. The way it filled the void inside him and the peace that brought him, if only for a moment. During those 2 or 3 days where I was glued to Cannibal Cafe, I stopped leaving my apartment. I avoided friends, family, and anyone who might notice the change in me, and my world shrank to the glow of my laptop screen and the endless stream of stories and posts. The dreams got worse. They weren't nightmares anymore, they were vivid, detailed, and I wasn't the volunteer anymore. I was the one holding the knife. It took a long talk with a close friend to realize that my obsession with Cannibal Cafe was the symptom of some lingering depression I'd been wrestling with following the death of my father. Now, that might sound very random to some people, but I guess I wasn't fully in touch with my own emotions regarding his passing. Reading about that clinical process of death and dismemberment forced me to confront them in ways I wasn't entirely aware of at the time. And then after talking to my friend about it, it's like it unlocked this new perspective. I stopped visiting the Cannibal Cafe, and for a long time it was out of my mind, until I heard about the owner getting arrested in Germany for actually killing and eating somebody, just like the person had described in the post. I'd managed to half convince myself that in reality, the site was nothing but an elaborate fantasy run by some very disturbed individuals. But hearing about Armin Maivis, Army Hammer, Maivis. But hearing about that guy, Armin Maivis, arrested, shattered that delusion, and had made me realize that the world really is much darker than I was led to believe.
Hey Lois, I just developed a taste for human flesh.
I feel like that sounds like Peter's voice and Lois's voice mixed together a little bit. Alright guys, I will be right back. This is the last story of the dark web spookiness. So I will BRB and then I will come back and read it. Okay, I just took some fentanyl and I feel real defocused. I'm feeling really good and I can do my job now. I could probably have heavy machinery. It was kind of funny. I came out of the bathroom and the hallway was dark, and Pradeep was standing at the end of it, just like seated, with his glowing eyes and a little slightly chubby body. It did look really creepy but funny. Oh man. What story do you guys think I should start with so far? I mean, we still got one more to like really kind of tie it all together, but do you think that first one where his information got doxxed was actually pretty solid? Or do you think that it took too long to get to the point that it was like dark web related? That it might not actually, because some people's like attentions when they see a dark web video and then the story takes a while before it actually says like this is dark web oriented. I mean, now granted, once you find out, it makes the previous 3/4 of the story actually still exist in that context. It's just, I don't know. Grilled cheese burrito had my toilet crying for help. Felt its tears as the poop fell in. That's funny. Some more stories based in Washington. True Donald Trump stories. I swear to God, I was on the dark web. They were eating people. They weren't just eating cats and dogs. They were eating people. They were eating the folks, the good folks, blue-collar folks. Hard-working folks just like you. Make dry humping. It's called dry humping. Don't ask me how I know that. Make it great again. When you donate more than $30, I'll twerk. I twerk for Israel. I love it. Big fan of Israel. I twerk for Israel. I do anything for them. I put on the little hat. I twerk. No clothes. No spray tan. Just me. The dark web is a grim place. Okay, here we are. The dark web is a grim place. A pit where humanity's worst instincts thrive, and it's where I work. I'm what's known as a white hat. A kind of good guy hacker paid to tear down vile markets, map the trails that lead to the monsters hiding in the shadows, and shine a sort of light into that darkness. Most days I sit in front of my screens, the glow of my monitor is the only light in my small, cluttered apartment, as my fingers fly over the keyboard, piecing together encrypted filth. Oh, God. Camjar. Oh, shit. 3 years. You're the best. Thank you, Camjar. Long time no see. What are you up to? How have you been? It's a long time. Oh. Most days, I sit in front of my screens, the glow of my monitors the only light in my small, cluttered apartment as my fingers fly over the keyboard, piercing layers of encrypted filth and exposing secrets no one else dares to look for. It's my job, and it's not for the faint of heart, but I'm goddamn good at it. I've seen horrors beyond imagination, things no one should ever witness, but the case that haunts me started on a day like any other. That sounded weird. Nobody knows the dark web quite like me. Frankly, it's so dark. I call it the black web. Kamala would never say that, and Sleepy Joe, he only goes on a light web. He goes to Google. He types, what's my favorite ice cream? What's my favorite ice cream? That's it. He just wants his
Men and Jerry's. And he poops his pants. Me, I'm a white hat hacker. I work with QAnon, me and QAnon. He's known as Q. He's a good guy. You might know him. Wink, wink. He's gonna free the kids. He's gonna free them. I swear I'm not just a fucking psyop to make conservatives complacent. Alright, anyways. I've seen horrors beyond imagination. No one is. Quite frankly, it's a scary place. Very scary. People come into my page. I run an X page. It's like Facebook, but it's got cool letters, and I have games. I've started having JavaScript games in there. All right, I've seen a routine where it's my job, and it's not for the faint of heart, but I'm goddamn good at it. I've seen horrors beyond imagination, things no one should ever witness, but the case that haunts me started on a day like any other. A routine sweep led to a marketplace buried deep in the web's underbelly. It advertised human lives as commodities, young and old, with glossy images and cold descriptions. I'd seen it before, but this one had a different aura, polished, professional, and insidiously quiet. A digital fortress, almost daring anyone to try to break in. I remember digging into its code and unraveling the layers of security, sort of like peeling an onion. It was very slow and grueling and frustrating work, and the site had a grotesque elegance to it, its defenses crafted by someone who knew what they were doing, but no system is impenetrable. And by the end of the third day, I was in. The database was rather vast, with entries detailing victims, names, ages, photos, and chillingly precise descriptions of their usefulness. Each profile was sort of a silent scream, a sort of plea buried. What the fuck? Each profile was a silent scream, a plea buried in. Each profile, silent scream, a plea buried in ones and zeros. Each profile was a silent scream, a plea buried in ones and zeros, and I started extracting the data, piecing together patterns and names and connections, and as always, I logged everything meticulously, building a dossier that might help the authorities when I was done dismantling the site. Then I found her, a girl from the Philippines, and she couldn't have been more than 12. Her photo showed a child with wide, frightened eyes and a forced smile. Her profile was detailed in a way that made my stomach churn. And something about her entry stood out, though. An odd note in the metadata, a small breadcrumb someone had left behind. It was a payment log, and it didn't lead to a buyer. It led back to her family. I ran her name through every database I had access to, cross-referencing missing persons reports, social media posts, and news articles, and the trail was faint, but it was there. She disappeared months ago, her last known sighting in a small village. The local news barely mentioned it, and her parents never reported her missing. Instead, their lives had taken a very curious turn. I found pictures of them on Facebook, standing in front of a newly built house. Posts bragging about a blessing that had come their way. Expensive clothes, lavish parties, smiles plastered across their faces. It just didn't add up. Where does a poor family suddenly get that kind of money? The pieces clicked together, a grotesque puzzle I wish that I hadn't solved. They sold her. Their own flesh and blood, handed over to monsters for a better life. I stared at the screen, bile rising up in my throat ready to vomit, and it wasn't just the marketplace. It was the betrayal, the abandonment, the cold calculations that turned a child into currency. I've always kept my work professional, very detached, but This time I couldn't stop thinking about her. She wasn't just a name in a database anymore. She was a girl who had been discarded like trash, her life ripped apart by the people who were supposed to love her most. I dug deeper into her family. Bank records, private messages, anything I could find. Every transaction told a story, and the trail was very damning. The deposit that coincided with her disappearance, the gradual splurge on luxuries, they weren't just complicit, they were thriving off her suffering. The more I uncovered, the more I felt anger creeping in. My work had always been about dismantling systems, not judging individuals, but this felt very personal. Her image haunted me, that forced smile and the terror in her eyes. I just couldn't shake it no matter how hard I tried. I've been compiling evidence for weeks, building a case that would hold up under scrutiny, and the authorities would take it from there, and that's how it always worked. But with each passing day, the thought of our family living in comfort while she suffered gnawed at me. They'd bought their happiness with her life. It was just monstrous. One night, as I sifted through the last of the data, I made a decision. I wouldn't just hand over the evidence and walk away. I would make them feel the weight of what they'd done. They couldn't be allowed to forget her, to erase her like she was nothing. I crafted an email, anonymous and untraceable, attaching photos of their daughter from the marketplace, blurred enough to protect her dignity, but unmistakable. I sent it to them with no words, just images. I wanted them to see her, to remember what they'd done. And I'll never know if they opened it, but I imagine the guilt festering inside them. I'll never know if they opened it, but I imagined the guilt festering inside them like a rot. It wasn't justice, but it was something. The marketplace was gone within days, wiped clean from the web. The dark web, the deepest web, the dark deep web. The marketplace was gone within days, wiped clean from the dark web. My work there was done, and the authorities had the evidence they needed to start tracking that network. But her face has stayed with me, a ghost that I couldn't exorcise. I like to think that she's still alive somewhere, that the system I helped dismantle gave her a chance at freedom. But I know better. The dark web doesn't just let go of its victims easily. Still, I keep working, tearing down one monster at a time, because if I don't, who will? Feet. And still, you monsters only want feet. Cold, soulless beasts desiring one thing: little piggies. How many are there, you probably wonder? Well, you'll never know. Alright, we have reached the end. How long have we been going? Oh, almost 4 hours. That's pretty solid. It feels like it goes by quick sometimes. Live, laugh, Luigi. Do you ever find like the Luigi story kind of interesting? It's like there's certain stories that the media like doesn't, want you to hear about, or they talk about it for a little while and then it disappears, and they don't talk about the Epstein thing or the Diddy thing or whatever. But then the Luigi thing, why is that? Why is that the one story that's like in the news media all the time? Like how do they decide, honestly, like which one picks up steam? You know what I mean? Remember the shooting in Las Vegas? And how weird that story was? Like 50 to 60 people died. And they just like with that many people and being like the nation's biggest mass shooting, you think it would have its own like date that we like celebrate like a holiday like we do all of our other tragedies. But it's weird that the media just kind of swept that one under the fucking rug. You don't think they have the right person, Luigi? I think they have the wrong person. But whenever he was being like carted from one of his the police vehicle into the somewhere, wasn't he like essentially acknowledging that he did it, or no? Like, wasn't he almost like trying to defend it and like speak certain philosophies to defend it? Perhaps I'm wrong. But the fact that he wasn't screaming like, "It's not me, you got the wrong guy, rah, 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 rah." I figured that if that would be the case, that's what you would say. But it almost seemed like he was frustrated or angry. Did he scream framed? The eyebrows are different. Oh, I guess that's true too. Unless he like shaped them up or something, I don't know. Luigi was a prawn. He was hunting ghosts. I can't find my fucking outro. Oh, there it is. Alright, what were we gonna say that's funny at the end? A prawn in a bigger pond. Hey friends, thanks for listening. Click that notification bell to be alerted of all future narrations. I release new videos every Monday and Thursday at 9 p.m. EST, and there are super fun live streams every Sunday and Wednesday nights. If you got a story, be sure to submit them over at my email, letsreadsubmissions@gmail.com, and maybe even hear your story featured on the next video. And if you want to support me even more, grab early access to all future narrations and bonus content over on Patreon, or click that big join button to hear about the extra perks for members of the channel. And check out the Let's Read podcast, where you can hear all of these stories and big compilations located anywhere you listen to podcasts. All links in the description below. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, something about butt stuff. Wait, what were we going to say? May the tears we shed in 2024 lube the cheeks we clap in 2025. And may it be so. Oh, see you, Nate. Yeah, don't feel bad about adding humor. It is what it is. Twerk for Jesus. Saving huge on data. True. We got rid of that. Apparently people weren't saving as huge on data as they had hoped, so I didn't want to be liable for how much they were owing their data company. Save huge on data. Hey Jade, you're late. You're 3 hours and 45 minutes late. We are reading the outro. That doesn't render judgment for Luigi. Some dude hit me up on Hinge asking to clap my cheeks. Well, there you go. At least the offer stands, you know. You got the option. I just finished a project I've been working on for weeks, and I'm so happy. I just wanted to tell someone, congrats. What project was that? Anyways, I guess we got the... Stay a little longer. Oh, what shall we talk about? Shall we talk about today? Alright, let's think. Is there anything cool going on? Any entertainment media news, question mark? Just twerk for you. Better Man leads AACTA nominations. The Robbie Williams-inspired film Better Man has set a new record with 16 nominations for the 2025 Australian Academy of Cinema Television Arts Awards. Other notable films include Furio. Who gives a shit about awards? Dude, awards are so stupid because it's just a big circle jerk and no one cares. The only thing that matters is how much money it made and whether or not the audience liked it. Okay? Talk about Pradeep. Well, there's not much to say about him. He's a simple man with a simple plan. To chill and shit in a box. Should I get flown out to New Jersey by a man I've been online friends with for about a year? That sounds kind of sussy. I would be careful with that one. And if you do, I would 100% tell your... I don't know. I would suggest against it, probably. Did you ever watch the YouTube channel Smosh? I've seen Smosh here and there. 10 years older. Ruh-roh. Yeah, that sounds a little scurry. AI's impact on media. Artificial intelligence is increasingly influencing media and entertainment, transforming content creation and audience engagement. AI is being used to generate scripts, edit videos, and personalize content recommendations, augmenting human creativity and efficiency, of course. Okay, here we go. Blake Lively's allegations. All right, this is what we've been waiting for, guys. Yippee. Actress Blake Lively has filed a complaint against co-star Justin Baldoni, accusing him of sexual harassment during the film of It Ends With Us. Baldoni's attorney denied the allegations. Oh, okay, so there you go. Following the complaint, Liz Plank, co-host Baldoni's Man Enough podcast, announced her departure from the show. All right. Whoopi Goldberg's advice to Nikki Glazer. Whoopi Goldberg advised comedian Nikki Glazer to avoid social media after hosting the upcoming Golden Globes, suggesting that online criticism is inevitable regardless of performance. Glazer will be the first solo female host of the Golden Globes, scheduled in January 5th, 2025. YouTube dominates podcast consumption. YouTube has become the leading platform for podcasts, surpassing Spotify and Apple. The rise in video podcasts has attracted a younger audience seeking a more interactive experience. Hell yeah, dude. We're fucking rocking it, baby. Chick-fil-A launches entertainment app. Chick-fil-A introduced Chick-fil-A Play, an app offering child-friendly podcasts, games, and an original series. This move reflects a trend of companies using digital entertainment to engage customers beyond traditional services. That doesn't sound that great. Great American Family Christmas Festival. Man, entertainment fucking sucks. Everything's so boring. Alright, now we're doing video games. Video game news? Do you guys have anything you're into that we could look up about news? Lives in Hoboken. Ugh. I mean, I guess a lot of people from New York live in Hoboken. What does he do for work? I don't know. He sounds scary. How'd you meet him online? Well, it's none of my business, but I don't know, dude. All of that just sounds like a headache, and I would just meet someone locally that your parents can like vet for you, you know what I mean? Just for your own safety. Yeah, he's a professional creep from New York. Perfect. He's a homeless guy. He owns a whole bridge, but he lives underneath it. His name's Oscar the Grouch. Wait, okay, gaming news. Here we go. Grand Theft Auto 6. Despite general slowdown in the gaming industry, Grand Theft Auto 6 is poised to break records. Analysts projected to generate who cares what they say until it comes out. Upcoming games in 25. The gaming community is looking forward to several notable releases, including a sequel to GTA 5 set in modern-day Miami featuring the series' first female protagonist. New installment is a globetrotting assassination series set in feudal... Wait. A new installment in a globetrotting assassination series set in feudal Japan. Why don't they just say fucking Assassin's Creed, for Christ's sakes? That game's gonna flop really hard. A life simulator challenge, The Sims Dominance. Well, The Sims is always popular, so that's good. Additionally, sequels to popular titles like Monster Hunter should do well. Ghost of Tsushima hopefully does well, and Death Stranding. Nice. Alright, yeah, but honestly, I'm curious about GTA 6. I hope it's fucking good, man. If it's not good, I think that's pretty much the end of everything. Like, if we can't be saved by one series, and it's a bunch of garbledy nonsense, then I think we were all pretty much cooked. The Epic Game Store is hosting holiday event. No one cares. Video game industry layoffs. The industry has faced a downturn, laying off 33,000 jobs. You kind of knew about that. In-game purchases. Who cares? Borderlands movie release. What the hell is that? These aren't news. This is like all old news. Sorry. Film at 11. You watch the new season of Valorant? Or play? Was it a game or a show? Or I'm not. I'm gonna go celebrate the completion of my stupid project. I better get a damn A. Hell yeah, dude. Red Dead Redemption 2 gives me hope for GTA 6. Yeah, I guess at the end of the day, hopefully the gameplay's sick, but there was just something about, GTA where it was like, shit on, make fun of everyone, and I really hope it does that. I hope it doesn't hold back punches in the name of, like, worrying about upsetting, like, 2 or 3 fucking Reddit or Twitter users for literally no reason. And they won't even care. Like, how many times has South Park said some, like, crazy shit and no one gives a shit? You know what I mean? They just say it. So, anyways, I hope it's good. Hope it rocks. and I still have half a burrito I still need to finish, so maybe I should get to that. But yeah, stay safe, guys. Be good. Get schmanceled. We all deserve to get canceled once in life, you know? My homie Oswald Hose Bachaco is... What are you talking about? Anyways, love you guys. Appreciate you. This will be up, edited over on Patreon. It's only $1 a month there for early access, as usual. Go follow my Instagram at letsread.official. Follow the Twitch page if you guys have Twitch up there, linked, pinned. You can follow my Twitch, and hopefully that blows up one day. I'll be the coolest guy, the coolest reader on the platform. And then, yeah, I'll get this up typical time, Monday at 9 p.m. EST. Dark web stories. Look forward to them. Watch it right when it comes out. It really helps. Otherwise, I'll be back streaming on Wednesday night. Much love to you guys. Have a great and safe New Year's Eve and New Year's. Be sure to get your pork in there. And, yes. Goodbye.